All right, welcome. We are live. The Xbox 2 podcast, episode, I believe this is 298. Getting ever so closer to that amazing, mythical 300, which should be happening in a couple weeks, maybe even around the time the Xbox Developer Direct hits. It's almost like that was done on purpose, although actually how could it be, because we started the show 7 years ago. But anyways, welcome everybody. I hope you're all doing incredibly well. I am your host, one of your hosts, Randall Thor19, the man with the million, and now a member of the PC Master Race. Yes,
wow.
We'll talk about that in a minute. And as always, I'm joined by my co-host, managing editor, Windows Central, Jez Corden.
Whoop, whoop.
He is here in the flesh. We're 2 hours late. That was my fault. Had a family thing I needed to do. And instead of canceling the show, we were like, you know what? We do the show early enough. We could delay it a little bit. So here we are a couple hours later. Hope everybody's doing well. How are you doing, Jez?
I'm doing pretty damn good, bro. Doing pretty damn good, because I was a little bit tired earlier, but because you were going to delay the show, I was like, you know what? I'll have a little nap. And then when I get up, I'll be nice and refreshed to do podcasting into the wee hours of the night. So, yes, I'm feeling good, rocking and rolling, ready to conquer the new year and all that good stuff. And you know what, Rand? I've also joined the PC Master Race this week.
What?
That is correct. That is correct, Rand. Because thanks to the fine folks at scan.co.uk, I have a lovely Razer Blade 16 with RTX 4080 graphics review unit here to peruse. My laptop obviously getting on a bit, RTX 2000 series, but we're both part of the 4000 RTX 4000 series world now, Rand. Have you played any games on your new PC yet? Or is it going to be mostly for watching YouTube stuff?
It's so okay. I bought the PC. I needed one, right? I needed a new PC because the one I had been using was 7 years old. It had a 1080 in it. It was getting on, right? It was getting old. It was getting up there in age, and I was like, all right, it's time to upgrade to a new PC, and I needed to spend some money to write stuff off for taxes because I needed to lower my tax bill. So I was like, I need a new PC. It's 7 years old, and I just bought the most expensive one. It was on sale for Christmas. I went to NZXT, talked to Cognito because they have a sponsorship with them, and he liked the PC they got, so I went there and I bought a pre-built. It's got a 4090 and all that stuff in there. Like, I don't really care about PC gaming.
4090.
It's got a 4090. I was just like, you know what?
4090 for streaming the podcast.
Well, no, I wanted something here. I wanted something that was going to last me a long time. So like something that I wouldn't have to upgrade for another 5 or 6 years. So whatever, I bought essentially kind of the best of what you could get, right? And I needed to because I needed to reduce my tax bill, essentially, which is going to be, being a YouTuber, I know you can pay your taxes quarterly, but I always wait till the end of the year. It really sucks when you get hit with the bill and you owe somebody like tens and 20,000s of dollars, you know what I mean?
How much? God damn.
I'm just saying, like,
America's taxes are hardcore, man.
So I bought the PC, hooked it up. So I was kind of, I normally don't get jittery when doing a podcast. Like, I've been doing this so long, it's like second nature. But today was weird because, like, everything's new on the PC. I switched browser. I used to use Chrome on my old PC, but like now I'm using like Microsoft Edge because that carried over all my settings, but Chrome didn't. So I was like, oh, okay, all my stuff's here for Edge. I'll use Edge now. So I'm like, I've used Chrome for so long. I'm trying to like work with Edge, and I'm like, it's so different. And I'm like bringing over all this stuff, and it's like I had to set up OBS again and all the different scenes we use for the podcast, which isn't that many, admittedly. But then it was like when I got in here, the mic wasn't working properly, so I had to fix that. And I'm like, oh my God, everything's going to go wrong. Jez is going to come in the call and he won't be able to hear me, and I'm going to have to cancel the show after after announcing it, so I was kind of like, oh my god, is this stuff gonna work? Luckily, it's not. Nobody says anything about it sounds bad or it looks bad or whatever. So,
we're good. We're good. I think that don't you worry, Rand.
yeah.
We're
Well,
okay.
Arthur1 in chat says enough with these Xbox PC snobs like Colt Eastwood and now Randall Mid, which is funny because Colt barely ever plays on PC, and I made people upset because I said I wasn't playing on this PC. This PC isn't for gaming. It's literally something I needed to buy, and like I said, I was probably just going to continue to play on my console because that's where I enjoy to play. My Xbox is hooked up to my 65-inch OLED. This PC is hooked up to a 24-inch 1080p monitor. I don't want to game here. I don't like gaming where I work essentially. Like I don't know. I'd like the convenience of the console, so that's where I'll be. So I don't really think you'll be seeing like Randall PC gamer at all, really. But
I pretty much use my PC for one game, and that's World of Warcraft. So yeah, I'm the same. I prefer playing games on console, but there's a lot of stuff that plays better with the mouse and keyboard. And I do like stimulation games, strategy games. I honestly prefer playing Baldur's Gate on PC. I think it's much easier. It's much more efficient to play with the mouse. I kind of feel like. But yeah, I'm the same way. Usually I like having my PC separate, doing PC things, Discord or, whatever. And I got my TV set up and my Xbox separate. PCs are really cool for emulation as well. I got into emulation recently because I got a load of PS1 games and I got a PS1, but it's like, what, if I have to have the option to emulate them or rather than set up my PS1, then that's a pretty cool thing too. Dock Station works really well. So yeah. Yes, bro. Why people shouldn't get so uppity about platforms and stuff like that? Just play where you enjoy. At the end of the day,
I don't know. People are weird. Like I don't care where people play their games, but apparently people care. Well, I'll play my games. And I'm not saying I won't try out some stuff on PC just to see what it's like, but I'd much rather go over in my comfy chair in front of my, OLED with my headset and stuff. And instead, I don't know, it just feels weird to game where I basically spend most of my working day here, doing stuff. It's just let me just pull out a controller. I've tried playing stuff on here, even FPSs, and I don't know, maybe it's because the monitor is so close to where I sit. I was kind of getting motion sickness. I remember playing Hyperscape with my friends because on PC only at the time, and I had to sit pretty far back from the monitor because when I was sitting up close, like I normally do when I'm doing stuff on PC, I started to not feel good, and I noticed I was getting motion sickness. So I was like, okay, let me sit back a bit. Yes, I know I do have to upgrade new PC or new monitor, and I got to get a camera, which is the next thing because on camera podcast is coming way sooner than later. It'll be happening soon. It's just got to make some purchases and get everything set up, make it all look nice and everything. So, but yeah, I don't know when I posted that thread on Twitter, there was a lot of people that were when I said I wasn't going to use it for gaming, they were upset. It's it shouldn't matter where I play. If I want to play on console, let me play on console. What does it matter to you? Who cares? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know.
People should just, let people spend their money and play wherever they want, But anyway, I digress. We digress.
Yes.
Let's do some podcasting.
Let's do some podcasting. Well, we have to give out shout outs to the wonderful Patreon people, right, Jez?
Yes, baby. And I actually didn't get an updated list, so that's on me.
Yeah. Well, we do have you want to do the shout outs from last week, or do you want me to do them? Or are you going to grab the list?
I'll grab the list.
Okay, well, you grab the list. So in the meantime, we do have our next guest for Xbox 2 Plus 1 locked in. It will be January 16th, so not this Tuesday, but next Tuesday. We will be having Modern Vintage Gamer on to talk about
Ooh.
everything Xbox and all the stuff going on there. So MVG will be joining
Ooh.
the show, and he's awesome and amazing. So I can't wait to talk to him about a lot of things. It'd be nice to get a dev's perspectives on the Game Awards and the leaks and that sort of stuff, because he's on both sides of the fence. He's a content creator and he's also a developer. So we'll be talking to MVG not this upcoming week, but the following week. And then we're trying to work out another guest as well later in the month. And if you're a Patreon member, you can check out Xbox 2 Ultimate, which we did this past Tuesday. It's up for all the wonderful Patreon members, and it's exclusive forever, as the Ultimate shows are. It was a lot of fun. We had some community members join us to discuss what's going on in the state of gaming, state of Xbox and stuff. So, yeah, check out that. And what about the shout-outs, Jez? You got them? You gonna read them?
Yeah, they're coming.
Okay, they're coming. All right. I can't
I'm
stall anymore, Jez.
I'm rapidly. The super chat you could be reading, but we've got the list now, so
Okay.
Bear with me one moment. Yes, so the Patreon shoutouts. Thanks to everyone on our shoutout here who supports us and helps us do what we do. And we've got a new member, Thurgus. Thanks for joining us, Thurgus. Holy Dark Death, Steve Stompy, Peter B, James Wazo, Tricks Off for Trey, The Grandest Bip, Bad Haddock, Army Dude 52C, Ryan Keipel, Foreign Object, Mythic Mai, Moran Donkey 99, Macazilla, Rand Althor 19, Silas, Eric Gregory, Elijah Vasquez, James Moore, Fantasticals, Halo is the GOAT, Patriarchs, Bright 101, Discarded Caboose, Justin Duell, Frank Marino, P-Bro King, Asa T and Madison, Grizzly Mofo OG, Governor Grimm, DZ Huffin, Achievement, Scarecrow 1-1, Darren Torpy, Professor JJJ, Ghostface Killer, and Wolfgang KPZ. Thanks everyone for your support. And if you want to join the show too, you can go to patreon.com/XB2. Thank you so much.
Yeah. We appreciate all the support. No ad read today. We're taking a break from that this week, but all the the codes are still available. If you want to get some from Manscaped, Xbox 2 is the code. You want to get some from Raycon or something from HelloFresh. Those codes are still available to use and stuff, but nothing today. So, Jez, we need to kind of move on, but I want to thank everybody for being here. Hit the like button, share this out. Subscribe if you're new. Hope everybody had a fantastic New Year's holiday. How was your New Year's, Jed? What did you do for New Year's? This is because this is the first show of 2023. Well, the first official show of 2023 because we did the show on Tuesday. But how was your New Year's?
My New Year's was good, man. I went to my uncle's and hung out with my cousins and drank some and hung out, kind of chill, nothing too strenuous. They were playing a lot of Genshin Impact, and there was a lot of discussions about Genshin Impact at New Year's. But yeah, nothing too unique, I suppose. What did you do? Anything special, Rand?
Just like Christmas, just another day. Just another day. I was just by myself. I think I was reading books. I think I watched maybe like a movie or something, but that was it. By myself.
Everyone says you got the year wrong. 2024.
2024, whatever. We're in that like moment of time where it's like it's 2024, but you still in your mind think it's 2023 because you've been writing 2023 for a long time. But now it's like just the very beginning. You're like, oh yeah, it's actually 2024. It's like, oh man, it's crazy. 2024. Who thought? Honestly, when I was like younger, I was like, 2020. I'm not gonna make it. And I mean, like, this is our 7th year of podcasting, Jazz. Well, not officially, but this will be the 7th year of Xbox 2. Start in basically April. April will be the 7th year, which is absolutely crazy that we've been doing this together for 7 years and don't hate each other at this point.
Speak for yourself.
Oh, well, yeah. Is that what your message to me said when I said I had to delay it for 2 months? Jez was like, "You're lucky I like you." What did that mean, huh?
It meant that I was happy because I could go and grab a quick nap. That's all good, bro.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough.
Fair enough.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. Fa Because you're like, I was like, oh no, Jez is gonna be mad. But I'm never mad when you got something you have to delay the show for or doing whatever.
That's okay. I forgive you.
Yeah.
I forgive you, bro.
Let me get through. We have a few of these super chats we're gonna get through. I'm sure they might bring up some discussion topics. Miguel says, reset era. I figured there'd be one of these right away. Jez was like, don't put that in the notes. But then it was like, well, somebody's going to say something. We're going to have to discuss it. And it's the first one, Jez.
Okay. Well,
reset era. Acclaimed Xbox first-party game is coming to other platforms. I hope they know what they're doing. There's no closing that Pandora's box. So yes, Nate the Hate, I think on his podcast, said that he knows for a fact of a acclaimed, award-winning, I think was the actual term he used, award-winning first-party game that is coming to other platforms, or rival platforms, I think is what he said, sometime this year. And of course, that led to speculation. We have seen As Dust Falls come to the other platforms. Ori went to other platforms as well. And there really hasn't been any movement on Xbox games coming to other platforms, but it seems that 2024 is going to be, first off, I guess you can say, do you believe Nate the Hate, right? Because people make up rumors and stuff all the time, and, people could be doing it for clout, or maybe them smartmates heard something, but I tend to trust Nate the Hate, so if he's heard it, I tend to believe him. The question is, what game could it be? And then the other question is, how bad will people react on social media depending on the game, right? And what game makes sense? I guess you could go through a laundry list of games and, think of like what makes sense to put on other platforms, and why would Microsoft want to put any of their other games on another platform, right?
Indeed.
These are other discussions to have, because it's like, Xbox loses a little bit of something special when one of their games comes to another platforms. You need exclusives for your platform for it to really stand out in the minds of consumers and things of that nature. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see. I mean, I could take guesses at what it could be. Maybe it's multiplayer related. Something like Sea of Thieves, for example. I think I had talked about this on Colt's podcast a couple weeks ago, where there's like a line, and it's like, do you cross it? And the line's like, basically, do you do what's good for the game, or do you do what's good for the platform, right? And what I mean by that is, when you have a game like Sea of Thieves, what's best for the game is probably to be on PlayStation and Switch and PC and Xbox and every platform imaginable, to have as many users as imaginable, and to make as much money as imaginable, right? That's what's best for Sea of Thieves. It's probably even what's best for Halo Infinite. It's probably what's even best for, Forza Horizon. But then, as a platform holder, you gotta think, well, what's actually best for the platform, right? Even though it might be best for the game, Halo Infinite, to be everywhere, it's best for the platform that it not be. I mean, it's a similar thing to like what Sony goes through with Spider-Man 2. What's best for Spider-Man 2? You could say, well, putting it on PC day one would be best for the game because it's probably going to make more money. But is that best?
You get to take advantage of the marketing you've spent.
Yeah, but is that what's best for PlayStation? And you could say probably not. That's why it's exclusive. And that's why something like Halo Infinite hasn't gone anywhere just yet, and, maybe will not. But I'm just saying, like, there's always kind of that fine line of, okay, we have a service games, and we know service games need to be everywhere to be successful. And something like Sea of Thieves has been around for 6 years this year. And, Microsoft may think, hey, it's done as much as it could do for the platform and Xbox Game Pass and PC. Let's bring it to more people. I'm not saying it's Sea of Thieves. In fact, I don't think that's the game Nate's talking about. But it's a game that potentially could find its way to other platforms. I don't know. What do you think, Jez?
Well, I will say, I do think Microsoft's been transparent about their thoughts on this. And Satya Nadella has said the only reason we have exclusives today is because that's what the competition does. Because they would prefer a universe where they put their software everywhere, and that's been Microsoft's guiding philosophy for a million years, right? But you're right. The platform loses some prestige and some gravitas when you don't have as many exclusives, right? Even though I know that Microsoft would prefer it to be, they would prefer to live in a world where they compete purely on the hardware merits of the different platforms, and they don't have to, and they can put their software everywhere. And they would prefer if PlayStation put their software on Xbox as well, right? And they would rather compete in the services, right? However, like, I believe that Nate's probably accurate. The guy's got a pretty good track record for one thing, and also it lines up with what Microsoft's thought processes are. But there's an obvious game here that he's talking about he said it's award winning.
I think that's what the quote is. I mean, I think it is. Maybe someone in chat can. I haven't listened to his show yet, but
yeah. Well,
I think he said it's an award-winning Game of the Year Xbox game. So that could, but then it's like, what does it mean, award-winning Game of the Year Xbox game? Is that from one particular outlet? Is that from the Keeleys? Right? Is that, who knows?
I mean, the thing is, right, when a game developer is marketing their game, they say Game of the Year edition, right? They can call it Game of the Year edition if one outlet gave it Game of the Year, right? And there is one game that I think would fit the bill here, and and there's a lot of games that I think would be healthy to put on PlayStation purely from a business perspective. I think Sea of Thieves is that kind. I think Sea of Thieves is that game. I think if Sea of Thieves was on more platforms with crossplay, I think it would grow the platform. But I also think Sea of Thieves is an ongoing game, and it has more DLC to give. And I actually think Sea of Thieves has potential to get people into the Xbox ecosystem still. Even though it's been out for a long time, it's not like it's winding down or anything. So my guess would be that it's Flight Simulator. I think, like, if it's true and if Nate's correct, and there's no reason to think that it wouldn't be correct, Flight Simulator fits that bill, right? So it's probably done everything it can do in terms of sales on Xbox right now. It did win awards. It is it's a prestigious franchise for Microsoft, but it's not called Xbox Flight Simulator, is it? It's called Microsoft Flight Simulator. And it started life on PC, and it's not necessarily associated with the Xbox brand. And it's also like, it's got a very unique and, very separate audience. And I think it's the kind of game that Microsoft could put onto another platform without upsetting the core gamers, that would also win a lot of fans on PlayStation, because I don't think there's anything like it on PlayStation, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if there was one game where I was thinking, like, Microsoft could do this and not get a load of backlash from hardcore, fanboys or whatever.
Oh, there's going to be backlash no matter what.
Yeah, there'll be some backlash. Because
people will make the argument that you shouldn't do it.
I mean, sure, but I mean, whatever. It's whatever. Like, no one's buying Flight Simulator on Xbox now.
Well, there is also a new Flight Sim coming as well.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, your new Flight Simulator would be maybe timed exclusive to Xbox, and you put the other one on there. Carax in chat says it's Hi-Fi. He said it leaked and it's Hi-Fi Rush, but I don't know if that's true. But I think Flight Simulator for me would fit that bill, and I don't know how other people would feel about that. These rumors have been swirling for a while now, because I think some people have been teasing some insiders that there are games coming to PlayStation, right? And I've been trying to investigate this. I think some other podcasts suggested certain games, and I've ruled a lot of games out. I've ruled out, like, I don't think Hellblade's coming to PlayStation, for example, and there were these sort of whispers in amongst certain discords that Microsoft is going to start going multi-platform and stuff like this, and a lot of I think some of it's like hopium or like FUD and all this stuff, because people hope that Microsoft will do it and Sony won't do it, because if Microsoft does it and Sony doesn't do it, then that kind of really damages the Xbox brand, I think. If you're living in a world where you can get everything you need on PlayStation, and you know what does Xbox offer then in that world? Yeah, Game Pass, but like, is Game Pass enough by itself? You know, it's a debate to be had, right? Is Game Pass a system seller in of itself, or is it the content really that's the system seller? But yeah, I don't know. I suppose we'll find out. We'll find out.
I mean, Hi-Fi Rush kind of fits the bill in the sense that it's an award-winning game, right? I mean, it did win. You are coming up on its 1-year anniversary, right?
The thing is, like, I think that's troublesome because it's kind of like if you put in Hi-Fi Rush there, it really does open up that discussion of why not everything, why not Starfield, why not Halo, why not this, why not that. But like if it's Flight Simulator, it doesn't really open up the same discussion because Flight Simulator is such a unique and historical kind of game that sort of existed before even Xbox existed, and also, you know, it's probably not the system seller in the same context. So I think for me, it's kind of annoying if they did that with Hi-Fi Rush because they've shipped it on another platform without even giving it a chance to really deliver value for the platform. They shadow dropped it. That was their decision, and all that kind of stuff. And if you do start putting games like Hi-Fi, which are single player games, not multiplayer, do start putting games like that on other platforms, it does open Pandora's box. You know, it really does. So I personally would hope that isn't the case for the health of the platform. I mean, it doesn't bother me personally, of course, because you know people. I mean, if I'm speaking purely for myself personally, I think it's a good thing that as many people can play the game as possible. But it's not going to be a good look for Xbox, and it is going to open. It's going to give the media like this whole. This narrative will evolve, which is like, why not everything? Why not everything? Why can't I get every game on my PlayStation? Microsoft, you literally aren't giving me a good reason why that can't be a thing that happens now. So yeah, it would be a Pandora's box with a game like that. But Sea of Thieves, I don't think so. Not Sea of Thieves, Flight Simulator. But yeah, we'll see what happens, I guess.
Yeah. It also comes at a time where like Microsoft is, you know, getting ready to potentially deliver a new developer direct with a whole bunch of games and stuff, and we know a Switch 2's on the horizon, and you know, so there's things going on. But yeah, I mean, you could speculate for days about what game it could be, what games it could be, you know, why Microsoft would do this, because like Phil. When Ori 2 came to Switch, Phil shut the door on bringing more games to other platforms. I mean, there's interviews out there with him saying, "Hey, you know, I don't think we're going to do this anymore because if we are, I would like it to be a full Xbox experience." And other platforms don't want Game Pass, which is what the interview with you he had, where he's like, we don't have plans to bring any Game Pass to Switch or PlayStation. So, you know, if you revisit this where it's like, all right, now we're just going to kind of selectively put some games on other platforms, is it actually going to be the full Xbox experience that you talked about in those interviews 5 years ago? Or have you walked back on that? You know, love Phil, right? But sometimes he says things and backs himself in a corner, which then people use for ammunition later on down the road. Like this, for example, like if it's Hi-Fi Rush, people will be like, well, you said this about Ori 2. You said it wasn't going to happen again if you didn't have X, Y, and Z features. Or people will point to Phil's roundtable thing with Bethesda, where he said, hey, we did this for exclusives for you, and these games will only appear, you know, on platforms where Game Pass exists, regarding, you know, excluding like legacy stuff, contract stuff, things of that nature, right? But then you look at like Hi-Fi Rush and it's like, well, okay, that's not legacy. Is that a contract thing? Like, was it supposed to come to PlayStation and they just didn't? I don't know. So then it means like, well, you said it was just going to be on platforms where Game Pass exists, but PlayStation doesn't have Game Pass, neither does Switch, so why is Hi-Fi Rush there? So like, you back yourselves into a corner by the things that you say, because I mean, who knows what the future holds? So if it's that game, people are going to be like, well, you said this, and now this is happening, right? I mean, people still hold the VR thing against Phil. when he announced in 2017 or 2016 that Scorpio was going to have high, premium VR, and they never did VR, So, Phil talks a lot, and we love him for that, and he's, gamer to his core, and I wouldn't have anybody else running the Xbox brand because I think he saved it. But he talks so much and says a lot of things that sometimes people can use the things he said in the past as ammo against him.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, at the end of the day, like Phil's job is to grow Xbox's revenue, and Xbox has the better revenue than it's ever had, and there's more people playing within the Xbox ecosystem than ever before. But it's kind of like it's that sort of, I don't know, that conflict between winning fans and earning revenue. Like there's no such thing as an EA podcast. There's no such thing as a Ubisoft podcast. There's no such thing as a Tencent podcast. Like people become fans of Xbox and PlayStation, Nintendo, and you can sort of use that fandom as a springboard to and bring people along with you. And I think like the more you sort of obfuscate that, the sort of more limited things can potentially get. But also at the same time, it's kind of like most people don't really care. Most gamers don't really care about how the sausage is made. They don't really become fans of a brand like that. There's only a few studios out there that sort of enjoy that sort of hardcore kind of fandom. I think like Blizzard was one in, to some degree, and still is, even though it's like Blizzard is like has become a pariah in recent years. Like the vitriolic hate for a Blizzard from non-fans is hardcore, man. And like I think Bethesda's one as well. Like Bethesda, there are YouTube channels dedicated entirely to Bethesda games and Bethesda experiences. In a way that there aren't channels dedicated to EA games, specifically EA games or specifically Ubisoft games, or not to the same extent at least. So I think like when you do curate a fandom, you kind of have a responsibility to listen to and serve that fandom, And I think like if you start taking that fandom for granted and making moves which are purely based around revenue plays, because let's face it, you're putting the games on PlayStation, that's purely for revenue. It's not necessarily because of you think it will help the Xbox brand necessarily. It's purely for like, oh, that's easy money, which is fine. That's a business at the end of the day. The whole thing's a business. But then at the same time, if you've curated that fandom, you kind of back yourself into a corner, and there is going to be backlash, maybe even harsh backlash. Like I say, I think like they could get away with a flight simulator, but a Hi-Fi Rush really does open that Pandora's box, and then it becomes a case of like every single player game that Microsoft announces, whether it's Hellblade, whether it's this, whether it's that, every single one is going to be, nobody's going to be talking about the game. They're all going to be talking about what's the platform, and that's going to be the whole discussion. It's going to suck all the air out of the room, right? And maybe that serves Microsoft. Maybe it's like, oh well, at least people are talking about it. If say for example they announce Hi-Fi Rush for PlayStation, right? And then that creates a question about Indiana Jones. It creates a question about, Perfect Dark. It creates a question about Hellblade, right? Just imagine that. And then maybe, like we said before, with regards to, I don't know, what was it now? What was it? What game was it, Rand, where they didn't announce platforms and everyone was freaking
Blade.
out? Yeah, Blade. So they didn't announce platforms for Blade, right? And then everyone, we talked about how, because they haven't announced platforms, you got some people holding out hope that it will come to their platform, right?
I mean, people still hold out hope for Starfield on PlayStation, right?
Yeah, even though everyone hates it. But you create that, you potentially start, winning people over and getting people interested in the game. And then it's like they become interested in the game, and then it's like, oh well, it's only coming to Xbox at launch. And then it's sort of maybe they would consider buying an Xbox then in situations where maybe you announce the platform straight away, which is probably what you should do just for the sake of being honest. But hey, this is business, right? maybe instead of announcing the platform, you keep it quiet, get people interested, and then you announce the platform, and maybe that helps the Xbox brand because people are like, oh well, I kind of want to play this. I'm a Blade fan, so I'll get an Xbox for it, right? But I still think it's a tough line to walk, man. It's a tough line to walk.
Yeah,
And people will start having these discussions constantly about every game.
of course. Yeah, that's what you do. I mean, look at this. We led this off because it was the first thing someone wanted to talk about, and the conversation's gone on probably a little bit longer than it should because it's just idle speculation. But yeah, I mean, people like As Dust Falls coming and nobody cares, and it's like, well, it's not really first party even though it is, and they funded it. But like a Hi-Fi Rush or Sea of Thieves, then it's like, all right, well, what's to say, some other game I'm really interested in isn't going to come to another platform later. What makes that person on another platform even want to even engage with the Xbox platform? Because, well, the game they might be interested in might come because you never know with Xbox, right? So we'll just have to wait and see. We'll just have to wait and see until someone else says what it is, or Nate says what it is, or Microsoft officially announces it. Regardless, right? So moving on, we got Elijah Vasquez, newest member of the channel. Although I think that he's not a new member, but for whatever reason it popped up that he's a new one. William Karuna says, Nate the Hate said Microsoft is bringing Acclaimed in the Game of the Year running in its year game third party. Any insights what this mean? Is the sky falling? Well, I mean, we just had a long discussion about that. So I guess that's the quote, Jez. In the Game of the Year running in its year. But I suppose, like, is that the Keeleys, or is it that like the any other outlet? Because if it's in the Game of the Year running in its year, well, I mean, Hi-Fi Rush wasn't in the Game of the Year, nominees for the Keeleys, so it wouldn't be that. And in fact, like, one of the things PlayStation guys make fun of is the fact that Xbox really doesn't have any Game of the Year nominees in the Keeleys. So it would have to be just random, like an IGN thing or whatever. So yeah, we talked about that at length. Yeet says, do you guys think they lump in an Activision Blizzard announcement at a Dev Direct to make the merger look even more official on a public level, or wait for E3? We'll talk about that when we talk about the Dev Direct. Good old Collinwood. Does your new PC come with a webcam? No, it doesn't. But I will be buying one soon. Don't you worry about it. Supernova. He says, Rand, I don't want to disappoint you, but your 4090 can't handle the power of Pikachu and Blastos. Could you imagine? You know what? I'm just going to emulate all of Nintendo's games, right? Because you can emulate them all on PC. No need to get a Switch. I'm just going to... This is where I'm going to play Nintendo games. I'm going to play them on my PC. What do you think? What do you think, Jez?
As long as you own the game.
No. Piracy's ethical these days. You know what I mean?
What? Is it really?
I don't know. That's what some people say.
Oh, damn.
So as long as I go and give Nintendo money, like here's $60 for Breath of the Wild, and then I'll just emulate it on PC so I can run it at 4K 60 essentially, then it's okay.
Well, that's you show prerogative, bro.
I guess so.
Show prerogative, bro.
I guess so. AAG Vantis. He says, love the console though. Maybe when consoles die, I'll switch to PC. I love chilling on my bed with the game. Third time live. Yeah, people just enjoy the console experience. Sometimes PCs are stuck in places where you can't really connect it to something better. I know mine is. Like, my PC and my TV are, like, really far apart. And when I tell people that, they're like, well, just get, like, a 50-foot HDMI cable, dude. It's like, yeah, okay.
Why they always a surfer with you?
I don't know.
Like, dude.
Because I feel like...
50 HDMI, dude.
Because that's what they... I don't know, because that's the voice I wanted to use. Bro, just, like, run, like, a 100-foot HDMI cable, my man. Then you'll be able to play it. Or put it right next to the TV. It's like, no, it's for, it's not going next to the TV. I guess, like, I could buy another TV and bring it over here, but it's like, that's a lot of extra money to spend. I ain't a millionaire. I ain't rich.
Yeah, right.
It's true.
Man with $1 million. Bro.
I wish. If that was the case, but,
Dude, I tell you something, man. I got my parents a new TV for Christmas, right?
Yeah, what'd you get them?
I got him the 2020. I got him a 50-inch 2023 Samsung QLED, right? I can't remember the exact model, but it's got the Samsung Game Hub built into it, right? So that's like Xbox. It's Xbox Game Pass, and it's NVIDIA GeForce Now built in and stuff, right? But it's also like it's designed for it, right? So there's like some onboarding coding going on and all that kind of stuff. And this is like, I do have a gigabyte down in my house, right? So it's I've got good internet here, really really good internet in living in a city in Britain. But Wi-Fi downstairs not that good. That's the routers penetrating through several thick brick walls and stuff like that. So not the perfect ideal settings potentially. But dude, I was playing Death Stranding on that TV via NVIDIA GeForce Now with a 4080 rig from NVIDIA remotely. It was flawless, man. Flawless. No artifacts. Crisp. Full fat visuals, ultra settings, no artifacts, no lag, Bluetooth controller to the TV. It was crazy. It really did feel like the future, man. So like where all this is going, it's going to be really, really disruptive, few years, I think. But hey, you could play that. You could play NVIDIA GeForce Now, bro. Get your PC games like that.
Yeah, that is true. Let's see what else we got. We got Champagne Supernova sitting by the pool listening to Xbox 2 with the G Cloud in one hand and the other waiting for Rand to get on cam. What's the deal? Just I do things on my timeline, not everybody else's. I know people, when I posted that picture on Twitter, were like, still waiting for you to do it. You said you'd do it immediately. It's like, I never did. I work on my own timeline for the things I want to do. It's happening. Trust me. It'll happen. And when it does happen, you guys are going to scream, turn off the cameras, and go back to how it used to be. Trust me, I know this is how it's going to work, but we're going to at least do one show, and then everybody can yell at me for turning, for being completely ugly and being like, hey, turn off the camera. It's going to happen. Just be patient, my man. Good things come to those who wait. It's my timeline. Let's see. We have AA Vanchus again saying, just believe that if exclusives go to the competition platform, then they might as well get my money's worth and main PlayStation Switch as a consumer. That's definitely something where it's like, hey, well, if all these games are going to come on other platforms, why would I want to invest on your platform? Is Game Pass enough of a pull to be like, well, no, I want to get stuff for cheap? I guess that depends. Carrick says it's leaked. It's Hi-Fi Rush to PS5. I guess we'll see. Meat Puppet says, I think it could be a game like Gears of War. Yeet Miller says Forza or Flight Sim could definitely be the multiplats. Achievement says maybe Xbox VR was a bait and switch to get PlayStation to heavily invest in the waste of technology, pulling away from their AAA budget.
Nah, Microsoft isn't that Machiavellian.
Yeah, they're not. I think they thought VR was going to be a thing, and then like all of a sudden it wasn't, and they're like, "Yeah, we're not supporting this."
Yeah.
Hey, it's Eggy. It says, "Happy New Year, guys! Xbox going to have a great year." I believe so, and Happy New Year to you, even though you changed your name, sir, Mr. Ralph Wiggum. Change your name to Hey, it's Eggy. Because you're getting these shorts blowing up, millions of views. Look at you go. Neuromancer Zale says, could it be a strategic alliance with Nintendo for the Switch 2 and Meta with VR for Xbox games and platforms, and maybe get some Nintendo games? I don't know. I don't know. Sin Vendetta.
Did he say what platforms it was? Did he say it was PlayStation or just
just rival platform? Other platforms. I mean, so it could be PlayStation, it could be Switch.
I mean, Hi-Fi and Switch, that could, I could see him getting away with that a little bit more. But at the same time, it's kind of like Microsoft. You always told us that, you only needed PC and PC was enough, I mean, what is it? It's Pandora's box, man. It's Pandora's box. You do one game, you got to start doing all of them, really.
Well, you don't have to, but people will think it's all of them.
Every single game they announce from now on, without the platforms, people will just be like, when's it coming out to other platforms? When's it launching on Switch? When's it launching on this? The lack of consistency will become an issue, I think. But whatever.
Sin Vendetta says, one game I played over the holiday that I wasn't expecting to get into was Age of Empires 4 on the Series X. Haven't been into an RTS like this since Warcraft 1 and 2. Having a lot of fun.
Yeah, it handles really well on Xbox. They've done some cool stuff with the control schemes there. I need to get back to that. And Rand, I'm almost at a point where I can start playing other games because I've nearly finished Diablo season journey. Finally, it's only taken like 300 million years, but yeah, I'll be free of Diablo, so I might actually start playing some other games every now and then.
Yeah. All right. So, let us talk about. Let's see. What do we have here? I guess we'll go with the funny topic first. We'll go with the Xbox Toaster. The Xbox Toaster, Jez.
Xbox Toaster?
Yeah.
Sweet.
You know how Microsoft loves to make these things? You know, they did the Xbox fridge, the Series X fridge, which was kind of cool. But now you have a toaster where you can go to Target, get a toaster, and it puts like a logo of the Xbox thing on it. What do you think about this?
I think it's terrible. I think it's absolutely terrible. It only does one slice at a time. Who eats one slice of toast at a time? Come on. Do you ever eat one slice of toast at a time? It's always at least two, right? Anyone in chat have one slice of toast at a time? So, but that functionality aside, it's pretty funny, I guess. You know, it's funny that Microsoft did it before Razer, because there was this whole meme in the Razer community, if there is one, where like people were telling the Razer CEO that there should be a RGB Razer toaster, and they made April
Cameron
Fool's
says
jokes about
Cameron and Alvin says it does too.
Oh, it does too.
That's
what
they're saying.
Well, if it does two, then shut my mouth. I thought it only did one. Maybe I'm just extrapolating from some of the images I saw, but yeah, okay, then it's brilliant. It's a base toaster. Two slices, yeah.
The one slice is a bad Photoshop on the thing, but it does do two. People are unboxing it and stuff, and yeah, it's got the Xbox logo. I guess you can burn into it. So there you go. Why don't you get it, Jez?
You want to buy one?
No, I'm not getting one. I didn't get the fridge.
The UK, I think.
I didn't get the fridge. I'm not interested in the toaster. You know.
Oh.
I mean, I do have like an Xbox. I think one of my sisters got me a couple Xbox paraphernalia things, like one that has like Xbox that like lights up, and another one that's kind of like the Xbox globe that lights up too. And I have them like behind me, and maybe when I build up my background, I'll put them there or whatever. But I'm not really interested. I have a toaster. Toaster works good. Do I need to spend $40 to get a toaster that puts the Xbox logo into my bread? Not really. I have one that works. I mean, I'm an Xbox fan, but I guess I'm not like that super hardcore of an Xbox fan because I didn't get the Series X fridge either because mini fridges are lame, in my opinion. And they didn't work very well either.
Allowed in the Randall Thor household, bro.
They didn't work very well either. They weren't really constructed that good. So.
Oh, are they not? Fair enough.
Danero says, "Where's the Series X bong?" I know, right? Where's the Series X bong? Indeed.
That's what Gaz will be using.
No, Rand doesn't like toast. I like toast. What do you mean? I
unbuttered toast, right? No seasoning.
No, I actually will put butter on it. Yeah, I know. I put butter on it. I mean, last night I had 2 hard-boiled eggs on toast. Ate it like a sandwich, bro. It was really good.
Lovely. I am an egg fan, and we both dieting, aren't we, Rand, for our camera debut?
Well, yeah, I need to, and so like I'm back on it. New Year's resolution was one, continue to get back on the diet, which I am, and haven't cheated yet, so we're going good. 2 was to make more videos, and that'll happen because I'm kind of feeling the need to make videos again. And 3 was to go on camera at least once. So that's all happened, and that's gonna all happen soon. So, yeah. We got Faces super chat that it was weird because it was there and then it wasn't. So, but he says, why are Xbox guys downplaying and saying we don't need a pro console, knowing if Xbox was doing a pro, they would buy it? I'm sure some Xbox guys a PS5 Pro for GTA 6. Well, it depends.
I mean, I would buy one definitely if they launch one. I would definitely buy it. But
Why you didn't even buy the PS5?
no, I mean
You mean
an
an
Xbox,
Xbox? An Xbox, yes.
Xbox, yeah. If they did an Xbox Series X Pro, I would definitely buy
Oh,
it.
sure,
But at the
absolutely,
same time, it's like, yeah,
absolutely.
I would definitely buy it. But at the same time, it's like, do I need one? Am I going to be jealous of the PlayStation having one? Not really.
Bro, you got a 4080 laptop, bro. Come on.
Yeah, I got a 48 laptop, bro.
Doesn't that run? Won't that run everything better?
I mean, except GTA.
Except GTA 6. That's true.
Run GTA 6 on YouTube really well, I guess. But yeah, it's I don't think Xbox needs to match Sony on everything they do. I think like it would serve Xbox just fine. Like if they announced if they just announced that they're working on a full blown new Xbox, if they just announced it, so like Xbox fans knew they had something, just as powerful, if not more powerful, to look forward to in the near future. I think that'd be fine. I don't think Xbox needs to directly match everything that Sony's doing. And they don't, That's why like Xbox puts its games day and date onto Game Pass and PlayStation doesn't,
And Xbox puts their games day and date on PC.
And they put their games day and date on PlayStation.
And it sounds like they're going to be bringing some of their games to... I mean, granted, PlayStation does have one of their biggest games on Xbox day and date, as well as Switch and PC, and that's MLB The Show. But we do know that basically PlayStation was dragged kicking and screaming to do it, right?
That's true.
Because that was MLB flexing their muscle and being like, you want this license? Well, you're going to have to put it on other platforms because we want to make more money. Because I would imagine if they weren't forced to, then MLB The Show would be exclusive. And if you notice, nobody ever talks about MLB The Show anymore. It used to be a bullet point for the PlayStation fans as an exclusive, as a reason to invest in PlayStation because you got the only baseball game made, and it was pretty damn good too at the time. The reviews were always outstanding for it. But now that it's available everywhere, nobody talks about it. PlayStation guys don't talk about it. The Xbox guys talk about it in the sense that, haha, we got your game, right? And we finally got a baseball game. But the reviews have kind of dropped down since it went multi-platform, even though it's probably made Sony more money than, and MLB more money than it ever has. The microtransactions, bigger user bases, a lot of people playing it on Game Pass. And this kind of ties into what Face is saying about, like, why are guys downplaying a PS5 Pro? I mean, dude, it's the console war. People are always downplay what they don't have, and they always, they always upsell things they do have versus the things the other people don't have, right? I mean, it's kind of how it's always been. So you're right. If there was no PS5 Pro, but if Xbox was doing, the like an Xbox Series XX or an Xbox Series Pro, you're absolutely right. Xbox guys would be like, we got the Pro, we got the power. Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to run the best. And PlayStation guys would be like, it doesn't matter, right? But this time it's flipped. These things always happen. When one has it and one doesn't, it's always flipped. They bend in the breeze to these things. So, yeah, am I surprised? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I'm not surprised that people would be saying that. As far as, like, will some guys buy a PS5 Pro? Will Xbox guys be a PS5 Pro? I guess it depends on how well GTA 6 runs on the Pro. If it runs at 60 frames, maybe. If it doesn't, then maybe not. We don't know how, well PS5 Pro is going to run games, or specifically that game itself, right? We've heard from Digital Foundry that maybe it's only going to be 30, but I mean, how could you really know? The game's not coming for another 2 years, right? Mm-hmm. No, another year. The 2025, right, was the year GTA 6 was coming, so another year and a half or whatever. So we don't even know. We don't even know the price of the PS5 Pro yet. For all we know, that thing could be $600, $700, right?
700?
I mean, dude, Sony's not taking losses on a console that only the super hardcore are going to buy. So they're going to be selling that thing either at cost or making some money on it. And there's still... No, I mean... I barely used the PS5 as is. Like, I turned it on... I played 3 games on it last year. Final Fantasy 16, Oxenfree 2, and God of War Ragnarok. The year before, I only played God of War Ragnarok. No, I played Spider-Man 2 this year. I played God of War Ragnarok, Sifu, and Stray the year before. And the year before that, I played Returnal and Ratchet and Clank. So I only turn it on to play maybe 3 games a year on the system. And this year, it's looking like I may not turn it on. Because I'm not that interested in Helldivers 2. Rise of the Ronin's kind of like, Stellar Blade maybe is a game I would play, because I do sort of like that type of game.
Waifu? Oh,
no, I like that kind of like fast action stuff. So
fast action waifu game.
Yeah, fast action waifu. So yeah, and I don't know what else they have. So Silent Hill 2, sure. If that, because they did say Silent Hill 2's coming this year in PlayStation's video that they put out. But of course, things could get delayed. They also mentioned that Metal Gear Solid 3 Delta is coming this year, Jez. I don't know if you saw that or not.
Who said that?
In Sony's video of what's coming to PlayStation in 2024.
Oh, nice. That's weird, because Microsoft had marketing on one side, and then PlayStation got marketing on the other side.
Maybe that's what's going to be. It's kind of just each
both sides.
Yeah, each company. So, but that's multiplat. So it's like I'll play Metal Gear on Xbox. I'll play Silent Hill 2 on PlayStation, because it's not going to come to anything for another year. So I don't know how many times I turn on my PlayStation. So it's like, am I going to get a PS5 Pro? It's like, well, okay, what's the price and what am I going to use it for? But like you said, if it was Xbox, absolutely. Even if it was $700, even if it was $1,000, I'd be like, yeah, absolutely. No, I'm just saying, even if it was, because it's something that I use all the time. Granted, this past month I haven't played anything because I've been catching up on my books and watching my TV shows and kind of just been chilling, taking a break from gaming, because I think that's that's healthy. And I'm going to get back into it because we got Prince of Persia coming out soon, and I want to get Cyberpunk, and my backlog is going to I think my backlog is going to get a workout this year, because I don't really think there's a lot of games that I want to play coming out this year. I think it's going to be, not as big as 2023. So I was like, I'm really invested in this book series I'm reading, and each of the books are like 800 pages. So I've just been reading, right? And I'll game when someone is out I want to play. So it's like, but normally I'm on Xbox almost every night playing games. So like I would totally get $1,000 Xbox Series X Pro, mainly because I use it all the time. That's what I'm saying. I don't use the PS5 Pro, so PS5, so a Pro doesn't make any sense to me personally. I wouldn't get it,
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it before, right? People willing to spend that kind of money on their phone because they use their phone all the time. And if someone who uses your Xbox all the time, it's kind of like, why not, right? I would buy one as well, But I'm also someone lucky enough to have the means to do such a thing, and not everyone else is. But that's what the point of those kind of consoles would be, I guess. But then you'd have to think, like, how much support would they necessarily get? Because you'd have to presume the developers would have to make a special pro mode of all that stuff. Mm-hmm. How many games would have the pro mode? Maybe it's not. Maybe it's trivial to do that when you're going up the scale rather than down the scale. But I don't know. I'm not a dev. Maybe we can ask MVG this kind of stuff when we speak to him on Xbox 2.
Yeah, we'll also talk to him about. I know you and him won't butt heads, but about the whole, his whole thing is about, like, physical games and.
Oh man,
all that sort of stuff. I know you're trolling, but I want to talk to him about it. You know what I mean? It's an interesting conversation. Can't wait to talk to him.
Sure.
MVG is a great dude. He's one of my favorite guys in the space.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. PS5 Pro. I mean, we'll have to wait and see, Face, what the price is and how the games run on it. But yeah, I'm not surprised. I mean, fanboys always do that. They'll, they hate walking sims. They hated Hellblade 2 when it was exclusive, and they hate walking sims, but they love Hellblade 2 now that's in an Xbox game. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, it's predictable. It's predictable on both sides. Very predictable. PlayStation fans were saying the only games that mattered were first-party games, and then suddenly a year where PlayStation doesn't really have any first-party owned studio games, suddenly third-party exclusives are just okay. So they always bend in the breeze, dude. They always bend in the breeze.
I've not heard that saying before.
Yeah. Jay Rembert says, if the game in question is from Xbox Game Studios for Bethesda, it's a giant L. If the goal is to grow Game Pass and Xbox ecosystem, you need exclusives. A lot of chatter about the game. Giggity08 says, didn't Phil say they wouldn't never be beat again for power? So if there's a PS5 Pro, then they would have to do a Series X Pro. Well, I think the actual quote was something along, they wouldn't be out of place on power or performance, or power or price. Like, the words never be beat again or never again weren't used. You can go look up that thing. And I know, like, if a PS5 Pro comes out and a Series X Pro doesn't, people obviously go back to that interview and be like, well, Phil said this. And it's like, yeah, he did talk about power and price, that they wouldn't be out of place on it. But he's probably was just referring to the launch systems. I mean, I don't know what he's referring to because I'm not Phil Spencer, but people love to insert words. I'm pretty sure he didn't use the words "never again" because that's just backing yourself up into a corner, right? So, but yeah. Dead Planet says, how much does Xbox honestly stand to gain from putting Hi-Fi in PlayStation? Sell maybe 100,000 more copies. Every time Xbox shoots themselves in the foot, the bullet ends up hitting the fans. Bullshit.
I mean, it's a good analogy. I mean, yeah, I honestly question that decision. If they are doing that, I would imagine that's purely because maybe the devs really asked for it, and stuff like that. I honestly would really question that decision. I don't think that benefits Xbox revenue that much. And I also don't think, I think you create a lot of confusion about where the Xbox brand's going. I would not think that's a good decision. And if it's Flight Simulator, like I said, Flight Simulator has literally no competition on PlayStation. There's no other similar kind of game out there, and it's got a very unique audience, and it's got a very strong satellite market around it because of selling flight sticks and stuff like that. So a game like Flight Simulator would make a lot of sense for me. Hi-Fi Rush, I think, just creates confusion, and I wouldn't. I think it's weird. I don't think that's a well thought out decision by them. But yeah, Microsoft's pretty good at not well thought out decisions sometimes.
Humdrum says, if it's Hi-Fi, we in agreement. Phil Stewart gotta go. Jeez. Already calling for people's jobs. That's a yikes, my dog.
I really think that the downsides of putting Hi-Fi on PlayStation really outweigh the positives. But they know better than me, I would have thought. Right?
I don't know. They're just, I mean, you would think so, but they're also the ones who, maybe not the ones there anymore, but when people always say, trust them, they know what they're doing or whatever, right? These are also the same executives that came out with the Wii U tablet, right? Or the same executives that decided it was okay to launch a PS3 at $600. Or the same executives that let's do DRM strategy on the Xbox One and completely change how people own games. So, like, the idea of, I always hear the counter arguments like, they know what they're doing, they run $1 billion business, what do you know? And true, I don't know shit. I don't run $1 billion business. But to always assume that those people know what's best and they know what they're doing is not always the case, because you can look at examples from history, from video game companies that have made really, really dumb decisions. And so it's not always the case of, like, just they know what they're doing. Like, they may have an idea, or they may want to go in a direction, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's the correct direction, or that people will like that direction they're going in. But we'll have to wait and see. Look what Nate did by doing this. All the whole discussions about this. Everybody wants to get their bars off about, Yeah,
everyone, let's all blame Nate. Nate, what you doing? What you doing, Nate?
This was your fault.
You got everyone upset, bro.
I know. Remember, he was the one that said that he was the one that came out and said the week of the Game Awards that Arcane Leon was showing something, and then that's when, like, the Blades stuff started leaking hard. Because, like, once one person kind of comes out there and says something, then it emboldens other people who may have information to actually say something because they're just, oh, well, Nate said it or somebody else said the thing, so I'm just going to come out and say it, right? Because a lot of people know, so it's kind of like some people just wait for someone else to say something first because a lot of times nobody wants to be the first, right? Especially if you're wrong. If you're wrong,
Oh boy.
ugh,
Yeah.
like I know, like I think it was your friend of yours, but the guy that came out and said, "Hey, Amazon's buying EA," was it? Or remember this was like last year. It was like, or was it Comcast was buying EA or something?
Yeah.
And then it didn't happen, and people like totally dogpiled on him because it was wrong.
Yeah. Oh well.
Yeah, I'm drunk says, "Yikes! Can't grow Game Pass Xbox like this. Let's wake up." I mean, I don't know. I'm not really the type of person to call for people's jobs because one game might go to another platform or a few games might. I'm gonna I take the wait and see approach. Honestly, if it wasn't for Phil, I don't think Xbox would be around. Period. So
No, it wouldn't.
Yeah. You're an Xbox fan, you should be thankful that Xbox exists, and the reason it exists is because of Phil. So, to say that he needs to go now because a couple games might come to other platforms, it's like, you do realize the platform only exists because of Phil. Otherwise, they were going to they were going to get rid of it. Come on now. Yeah, but then, Sarah's also, she's in charge of Xbox too now, right? Maybe it's her decision. Maybe it's Matt Booty's decision. I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see what happens with it all. But yeah, so Xbox Toaster and Starfield once again in the news, Jez. Starfield. Always in the news. It never ends. The game people hate. Always talked about. And this time it won a Steam Award. You know what I mean?
Yes, a Steam Award. But Rand, is there not a caveat to this story?
Well, so the thing is, the Steam community voted on a bunch of different awards, and Starfield won the award for most innovative. Right? Most innovative. Which some people kind of like raise an eyebrow at, because they're like, is Starfield really the most innovative? And, I thought it was maybe more of a popularity contest. Like, people saw what the finalists were, and Starfield was the most popular one, so they just voted for it. But then there's people talking about the idea that this could be a troll vote, that the Steam user community would vote not only for Starfield to win most innovative, but also Red Dead Redemption 2 to win Labor of Love. So there's been talk that, hey, maybe this was just a troll vote. But then it's like, well, okay, so if Steam users are packing the vote and trolling to make sure that Starfield wins an award for most innovative gameplay, but then also, could that also mean that they're just also not being truthful with their reviews about Starfield? That everybody reports about how they're mostly negative? Could it be gamed in that way? Because if they game in the system the one way, could they be gaming the system the other way? So, you know what I mean? I don't know. Possible. I don't know what to think.
Definitely possible, bro.
Yeah, what do you think? What do you think about this whole I mean, we've talked about Starfield ad nauseum. And honestly, there wasn't that many like huge topics to talk about this week. So I was just like, well, Starfield. I don't know. Do you have any input on the Starfield, winning what might be looked at as a troll award, but then how can you take that seriously or take the review seriously? Those trolls too. Like what's the truth here? Is Starfield really that much of a hated game? Because even it came out that people have run the numbers. Apparently, Starfield was more hours played than Baldur's Gate 3. I guess.
Yeah, I mean it's so weird about Starfield. I mean, the game has problems. No one's denying this. No one is denying that the game has problems. I think, but there are like multiple directions of blowback that Starfield's enduring right now. I think some of their responses on Steam reviews, they were tone deaf. And I think like saying things like, "Oh well, the people walked on the moon and they weren't bored," and it's like, yeah, but dude, they were literally walking on the moon. They weren't playing a video game, where you you know you're supposed to be doing like this fantastical kind of stuff. I think it's a really it's a weak, lazy comparison to make, and it's so weak and lazy that it comes off as snarky. It's like, bro, community manager, friendo, you can't truly believe what you're saying. So that must mean you're just kind of trolling us here. So I think they won some blowback. They earned some of the blowback they're getting with regards to some of this stuff. But at the same time, like the level of ongoing vitriol is unlike anything I've ever seen for a single player game. Like Starfield, people acting like, Starfield was completely broken, or people acting like, nickel and dimed you, or it's pay to win or something like that. It's almost like it's a slow burn version of the Battlefront 2 backlash. Even though like Starfield hasn't really done anything particularly egregious, and I do think like the game has plenty of things worth criticizing it for. There's a lot of read my review. It's full of criticisms for the game. But like you said, I also gave it 9 out of 10 because I enjoyed my experience with it, the base game, and then I moved on. I'm not someone who's trying to extract extra juice out of it by running the game over and over again in the post game stuff. I'm not someone who's going to do that with Starfield because it's not a service game for one thing, and also I don't really play games like that, personally. So like I can see like if you are someone who wanted to have that kind of experience with it and it didn't live up to your expectations, I think it's totally fine and valid to criticize the game. But you've got people who've never played the game criticizing it. You've got people who are just sort of looking in from the side and enjoying taking shots at it. I think some of it is former Bethesda fans who feel sort of betrayed by Bethesda going exclusive to Xbox, and they're using this as a vehicle to vent their frustrations. And I think there's also even blowback going as far back as Fallout 76. The fact that Fallout 76 was very a departure from what people expected or wanted out of a Fallout sequel. So there's some blowback on that. I think Bethesda has lost touch with some of its fans. I really do think that. Um, I think Bethesda should take on board some of the feedback and stop sort of making itself out like they are just the victim and stuff like that, because some of the stuff you know has been earned. Some of the negativity that they've received, or the criticism and the sort of the disconnect with the fans, I think they've caused that themselves and shooting themselves in the foot and whatever. I don't think anyone deserves like outright hate. I think it's weird that they're getting like vitriolic hate and stuff like that. I don't think that's necessary, or even like go as far as harassment and stuff like that. But the ongoing way, like some outlets are using it for clickbait and all this different kind of stuff going on, like just non-stop. I think that is just weird. I've never seen it before. And I think a lot of it is frustration for the way Bethesda evolved over time, or didn't
evolve, I
enough.
guess. Right?
Yeah, didn't evolve. Yeah. So I think, like I said last week, I think history will be kind to Starfield. I think they're going to they are going to address the feedback, and I think like they are going to address feedback. I think the expansion will be really well received. I think the modding stuff, when they add the modding platform, there'll be tons of stuff they can do to the game. But I really think they've got to figure out a way to reconnect with their fans and also humble themselves a little bit. I think like it started when Todd was on the news and someone submitted a question which was like, why didn't you optimize this for PC, right? And that was a loaded question and probably submitted in bad faith. And Todd said kind of dismissively, and I really like Todd. I met him a bunch of times, but he said kind of dismissively, "Well, you should upgrade your PC. Then this is a next gen PC game, whatever." And I think that's kind of like the wrong response to have made purely from a PR media perspective, you know. And I just like if it was me, I would have said something maybe a little bit more diplomatic, like we're listening to the feedback, we're prioritizing optimizations where we can, and this kind of stuff. I think that was kind of like a defensive. It came off as defensive, and I think that sort of that I remember that being used and clickbaited, and people were getting on their high horse about that response. So I do think Bethesda should humble themselves a little bit about and reconnect with their community, especially in a world where Fallout fans are still waiting for a sequel for a million
And
years,
you
and
will
so
be
are Elder
waiting for a
Scrolls
million
fans.
years. Yeah.
Yeah, Elder Scrolls fans too, waiting for a sequel for a million years. And and Starfield fans are waiting for improvements and fixes and polish to the game. And we don't really have a roadmap, per se. I presume that maybe, and we're going to talk about developer direct rooms in a minute, but if they are doing the developer direct, maybe they talk about the expansion there. Maybe that's the start of trying to reconnect with the fan base and stuff like that. Because I do think history will be kind of Starfield, but yeah, that's pretty much my tangent on that one.
Yeah, Starfield's always in the news. I mean, hell, I used it as one of the titles for the podcast because, you know, it's like,
Controversial game for some reason.
yeah, but I mean, also a game that played by a lot of people. There are a lot of people that also really like it, that played it for hundreds of hours. There's also people that really don't like it, right? Very controversial in its reviews. Even though it's like sitting at like an 83 on Xbox or an 86 on PC, the way people talk about Starfield is like it's the worst game ever made, right? Like the worst game ever, and it's like Starfield was trash, and it's like I mean the reviews don't really reflect that, and even like all the reviews on Steam right now don't really reflect that. But then it's like, if it's winning this award. But then it's like, oh, it's a troll vote. But then it's like, yeah, but then, okay, are the users just not trolling Starfield with their reviews either? Because I see reviews on Steam that are like, yo, dude, totally put 800 hours in this game. Wouldn't recommend. like, you played it for 800 hours. You didn't like the game? I mean, I get like the idea of like, somebody like put 2,000 hours into Destiny too, right? But like wouldn't recommend it to somebody.
I'm kind of at that place with Diablo right now. It's like I put hundreds of hours.
Yeah,
into
but
the
I think
season,
you would. But I think
would I recommend it though?
Yeah, I think you would though. I think you would say, "Hey, Jez, I want to play through Diablo 4." Are you mean to tell me that you wouldn't recommend somebody to play through a 30-hour?
Oh no. The base game's great, but
right.
I'm talking like the end game though.
Well, yeah, but not everybody's
looking
looking
a lot
for
of time
an
into the end game.
Okay, fair enough. But like,
I put a lot of hours into the end game, and he's like, "Would I recommend it?"
Yeah, but it's the idea of like someone playing the game for 300 hours and being like, "I wouldn't recommend this." It's like, well, did you like it? Well, clearly you did because you played it for that long, and you don't think somebody else would maybe like it. Playing through just the story and the factions. Not everybody wants to explore all the planets or build all the outposts and do all that stuff. I didn't. I mean, I played it like I'm going from quest to quest to quest. But some people, I mean, I guess it depends on how you want to play those type of games. It's just, you're right. I've never seen a game talked about in this manner. A game that seemed like it achieved all the metrics they were looking for, and the way people talk about it is like this disaster of a game. And then here it wins an award, but it's like it's a troll. But it's like, well, if it's a troll here, couldn't the negative reviews be trolls? Well, no, those are sacred. Are they? Because we've seen mass downvoting and all those sort of things across Rotten Tomatoes and IMDb and all those websites where, whether it's anti-woke or the woke agenda, people downvote and review bomb everything. Even they made like changes at Metacritic and Rotten Tomatoes where you couldn't review stuff right away. You had to wait because it was such an issue. It's like, sure, that's I don't know. It's just the whole situation with Starfield is quite weird. But you did mention, well, in your little rant you were talking about, you did mention Fallout games, and one of the things that we didn't talk about recently because of all the other things going on was Obsidian wanted to make other Fallout games. Remember this came out? I think it was from Chris Avallone a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
They wanted to make more Fallout games, but it seemed like Bethesda didn't want to. And even I saw an article this week from Rock Paper Shotgun, I believe, that Tim Kaine, creator of Fallout, is kind of consulting on Outer Worlds 2, Jez?
Yeah,
he's playing through levels, giving feedback about it, about the lore, or how the levels are and stuff like that. Is that surprising to you, or is that just kind of like normal video game development type stuff?
I mean, yeah. I mean, there are a lot of people do a lot of consultancy work once they've established a name for themselves. I'm sure Chris Avalone is doing it as well, even though like he became
pariah
kryptonite for the industry,
yeah
pariah for a while. But even I've done a little bit of consultancy
oh
work.
really who have you consulted
Yeah.
for or are you under
I've-
NDA and you can't say
Probably under NDA.
oh my
Actually, I
lord
don't know. I can't remember the contract. It was a long time ago, though. Well, actually, it wasn't that long ago. It was like 2 years ago. And it wasn't necessarily for a game, but it was for the community aspects of a game. But anyway, but I digress. Yeah, consulting work's the things that happen. But it's cool to know that there's someone of Tim Kane's kind of pedigree involved, right? Because Outer Worlds is a really strong franchise, and I think it's ripe for getting to that kind of next level. The one thing that was really great about Outer Worlds was the universe, and the universe, and also the lore, and also the writing was really, really solid. The only thing that was sort of the thing that was sort of a downside was the combat, I suppose, and that kind of stuff. But if like Tim Kane's involved, on the lore side, that's going to be even stronger than previously, right?
the what
If Tim Kane's involved, it's going to be even stronger than it was previously. Like a lot of that underlying stuff.
oh yeah no I also saw a lot of people surprised that he's playing through levels now. Like, oh, he's playing through levels now? How close is Outer Worlds 2 to being a thing? I think Outer Worlds 2 potentially is probably 2025. I know you said you're pretty sure, or at least thinking that Avowed is this year, which, I mean, they did announce for 2024. I mean, Outer Worlds 1 came out in 2019. So I think, yeah, Outer Worlds 2 could easily be next year, couldn't it?
Yeah, I suppose so.
I mean, that's enough time, you know? Be interesting to see what things they've learned from Outer Worlds 1, kind of the lessons they take to make that game, or what bigger budget they would have gotten, because we know the budget for Outer Worlds 1 was quite small, because they were published by Private Division, which was like the indie publishing label for Take-Two, or 2K, or whatever. Now it'd be like a proper Xbox first party game, so I would imagine the budget's bigger and those things. So it'll be interesting to see how much bigger and better Outer Worlds 2 is. But hey, there's your Fallout game. You don't need Fallout 5, Jez. You got an Outer Worlds coming soon, bro. Does that not make you happy? Or is it just you want Fallout? Yeah. You want Fallout.
To some degree, it's fine. Like Outer Worlds is like a great substitute for Fallout in the interim, and also like the way Bethesda's kind of been recently. One of the big issues with Bethesda has been the writing and the branching narrative, and honestly, Obsidian does it better. But they always did it better. They did it better in New Vegas as well. So, I kind of feel like that's fine. I'm fine with that.
Okay.
We'll see where it goes.
All right. We have super chat here from Humdrum again, who says Phil did his part. We thank him, but time to move on. Oh man, Humdrum, he wants him gone. If Hi-Fi Rush or other Xbox games come to Xbox, he wants them out of here. Phil's gonna leave eventually. He's not gonna be there forever, right? And it looks like Sarah Bond's gonna be the one to replace him. So that might be in a few years. I mean, I don't know how long Phil's going to stay, but he's not going to be Microsoft CEO of gaming forever, right? He's gonna walk into the sunset one day. I think he's gonna walk into the sunset one day with his good friend Todd Howard. When they're ready to leave as well, right? Aries says, how long until we start seeing ads in Game Pass games either at launch or baked in? So you mean like when you load up a game, there's ads in the game? Is that what I mean there? How long until we start seeing ads in Game Pass games either at launch or baked in? Is that something that would really ever happen? Like an ad within a game that you're playing? I know there's kind of ads in like 2K that kind of blur the line that people were really upset about. That's a game you paid $70 for. I don't really play mobile games. Do they really inundate you with ads that much, like Jez? I don't really know much about the mobile space. Like Genshin Impact is free on mobile, right?
Yes.
Do they run ads?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either, but it's just like
there are some mobile games that do run ads in the middle of games.
Like Candy Crush doesn't run ads, it just makes it difficult to continue without paying, right?
No,
that's kind of the thing.
It does run ads.
Oh, it does run ads.
So like, I think Candy Crush, like,
or you could watch an ad to earn energy to like keep on playing or something.
Yeah. Something like that. Yeah, I don't know if Candy Crush does it, but I'm pretty sure there are some Microsoft owned games that do have that feature. Microsoft has an entire API and a platform for that. You know, it revolves around being
right. I don't know. I don't really see, because a lot of the Game Pass games are just games on every platform. I don't really see them baking ads into a game. Personally, I could see there being like an ad tier of Game Pass where like before you start playing you have to watch an ad or something. I mean, they've kind of already talked about that. I think we talked about that a couple weeks ago. Tim Stewart's comments about potentially like a mobile plan where you would have to watch some ads before you play a Game Pass game. But I'm not sure ads would ever be baked into the game itself. But then again, if you're a subscriber to Ultimate Tier or regular tier, you wouldn't really get any ads anyways. It would just be a tier for people that don't want to pay, right? Because all the subscription services from Netflix to Prime, they all have tiers where it's like, hey, do you want to pay the lowest amount of money, but you have to watch ads? Or do you want to pay the most amount and not get rid of ads? I mean, YouTube Premium exists. I use YouTube Premium. I don't get a single ad. Now, I guess I could use an ad blocker, but I watch a lot of content on YouTube, and I want those creators to get paid. So using ad blocker, it doesn't, they're not getting paid. So I gladly pay for YouTube Premium. And YouTube Premium's whole thing is you don't get any ads. So while they may come with a tier of Game Pass, really cheap tier of Game Pass that has ads, it really won't matter to you because as long as you're subscribing to one of the tiers that don't have ads. But I mean, I don't know about you. I don't know about anybody else who uses YouTube Premium. I could not imagine using YouTube without Premium.
No, I love YouTube Premium. Like, I get so much value out of it. Like, I would probably drop Netflix before I drop YouTube Premium.
Well, you probably use Netflix more than you use or you probably use YouTube more than you use Netflix, right?
Oh, easily.
Yeah.
I use YouTube more than any other streaming service. And you can learn so much from it. Like, I'm using it for Unity right now and all kinds of that stuff.
Ads. Everybody wants to advertise to you. Risk it for the biscuit. My Australian brother, he's here. He says, Jez, I'll see you at Gamescom, booked and ready. So he's ready to be at Gamescom, Jez. You going to Gamescom this year in August? I would imagine it's in August, because it usually is.
That's true. Hopefully. Depends on, everything, I guess. Money, what the company wants to do, all that kind of stuff. Because I couldn't honestly say if I'm going right now, but we'll see. Hopefully. But it'd be cool to see Risky again. Risky's a cool guy.
Yeah. John Davis says, interested in your thoughts on a lightweight Windows Xbox OS for PC and handhelds. Valve have shown how it can be done to get the console experience on other devices. More powerful device with the Xbox couch experience. This would be more your thing, Jez. What do you think about a lightweight Windows Xbox OS for PC and handheld?
I mean, that's one of the things from the documents, and they were like, this is out of scope for us, right?
What, like building a first-party handheld, essentially?
Yeah.
But he also mentions, like, a lightweight Xbox OS for PC or something,
Yeah. It's mentioned, but I don't know if it's, like, within their budget or within their ability to do that right now. I mean, obviously, I would love to see it. I think, like, because I think it'll serve them for building these kind of platforms out. But will they actually do it? It remains to be seen. That's like a significant expense, I would have thought. But who knows, man? Who knows?
I mean, I think I've talked to Everborn. He mentioned something like this, and I don't know. it's not something that would interest me, like an Xbox handheld. I'm just not really a handheld gamer. I've never have been, even when we've had like the handhelds around. In fact, my mom played Game Boy more than I did, bro.
Really?
Seriously, we had a Game Boy that was my brother's, and my mom played Game Boy more than I ever did. You want to know why? You want to know what games she was addicted to on the Game Boy? I wonder if you could guess.
No idea. Tetris.
Okay, there you go, Tetris. Yes, my mom
Tetris
was
also in the
utterly
news this
addicted to
week.
Tetris on the Game Boy, and I don't know if you saw. Did you see the Sky News thing where the 13-year-old kid beat Tetris, and then the news reporter kind of like talk shit about him?
Yeah, so Sky News is like, it's owned by, or at least it was. It shares some DNA with Fox News, right?
Okay.
But there are limits on what they can get away with and what they can say in the UK, because the media laws are quite tight in the UK, right? Especially for TV news, at least they're quite tight. But every now and then they kind of slip into this hyperbole kind of stuff where they're just nasty for the sake of it, in an American kind of style news stuff. And she's really catching flack for this because apparently the guy, like, I don't know if this is true, but apparently the guy was like, the kid was bereaved and he was playing Tetris
for his father, right? Was the
yeah,
story?
I read that.
Yeah.
And he dedicated the win to his father's memory. So that's like compounding that story, and the general nastiness from that woman. But yeah, it's just the media is always shits on gaming.
Yeah, but
man.
also
doesn't matter if it's right wing, left wing. All the media shits on gaming, and it's always a punching bag.
Well, it's also because I still think a lot of people view gaming as a childish thing to do, right? So it's like, oh, like some news anchor who's old would be like, gaming, that's for nerds or whatever. You're not going to be able to do anything with that, which is like, hello, yeah, you can, yeah, but what a bitch. Kazant Wizard says, if Hi-Fi Rush goes to the other consoles, it will probably be because of agreements for music rights. Xbox probably paid for an exclusive period.
I can't see that really.
Michael Mooney says, should Xbox do a showcase at CES?
It's too late for that. The CES is happening right now.
Yeah, but have they ever done a showcase at CES? Have they ever really kind of done stuff there?
I think they have been at CES before. I can't remember what for, but I think they have been there, But yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. Jay Foley. Well, I don't think they'll really go to CES. I mean, Sony's at CES, but only like a lot of people only care about the PlayStation aspect of it, and they don't really do much there either. I mean, I don't know. I don't really think it makes sense. A lot of like Xbox's well, he says Xbox, but Xbox has their own shows, and sounds like they're going to have one really soon anyways. Jay Foley says, Jez, I want to buy a ROG Ally, but at the same time, I don't want to buy one if the ROG Ally 2 is coming out soon, and the older one won't be supported. Do you think it's safe to buy an Ally?
I don't think you'll see an Ally 2 anytime soon. I mean, they're all based on the Z1E chips, and they're still pretty new. I don't think you'll see a ROG Ally 2 anytime soon. It's, at least not from a power perspective. You might see them do like a new version that has like extra features or something new involved with it. Similar to why the Steam Deck OLED is a thing. But nah, I think it's pretty safe to buy one right now. But you might want to wait for CES though. I mean, the MSI is supposed to be announcing one soon. It kind of leaked, and it's Intel based according to the leak, which is Intel based handheld. We'll see how that goes.
What's the significance of that?
Well, Intel aren't known for the most efficient chips in the world.
Okay.
So I'm just kind of like, but their new architecture, I think it's called Meteor Lake, is supposed to be a little bit more in that direction, I think. So it'll be really interesting to see what claims are made from MSI about this Intel-based gaming handheld. Because, Intel's doing its whole Intel Arc GPU stuff, and apparently the hardware's okay, but because the drivers are underbaked, and there's a ton of issues with that kind of stuff. And then like you're gonna throw handheld into the mix. Yeah, I'm not really that confident about MSI and Intel's chances here, but who knows, man? Maybe they'll shock everyone.
Bro, I got an Intel chip. My CPU's Intel, bro.
Yeah, CPU. Yeah, so do I. But that's different. It's in a gigantic PC with a huge PSU, isn't it?
Yeah, that's true.
Not in a handheld. Not a handheld.
That's true.
And there are Intel chips which are like really power efficient, for ultrabooks and stuff like that. But then you're compromising graphics quite a lot. It's like I wouldn't want to run a AAA game on an integrated Intel GPU. I admit my knowledge on Intel is probably out of date. The Surface Pros, for example, Surface Pro tablets, they run so hot, man. They are all the Intel based ones. That you can fry an egg on that motherfucker. And you want to put that in a handheld? Shouldn't think, man.
Okay, we have Spartan661. He says, I introduced a couple that were PS casuals to the Series S that always play COD. They can't stop playing Starfield. They got Game Pass for a whole year. Damn, that's really cool. Sometimes I don't think Game Pass is really marketed enough to I don't really think a lot of casuals really know, and I think maybe if they did, they would be like, wow, this is really cool, right? All these games at your fingertips. But that's just how it kind of is. A lot of people only get a console to play, FIFA or Madden or something, play with their friends, and they're like, I don't need another console. What do I need Game Pass for? I don't really play a lot of those games. But that's cool to hear. That's a nice little anecdote. BT Maverick says, Rand, would you rather play Silent Hill on your 4090 with the highest fidelity or on the PS5? Because I believe it's a day one release on PC. Is it a day one release on PC? I thought it was one of those games that was like, well, I actually think it might be. Because I know Final Fantasy 16 wasn't coming to PC, but maybe with Silent Hill, they're just like, nah, we don't care that much about Silent Hill, so we're not going to pay for exclusivity completely. So would I play Silent Hill 2? I'm going to play Silent Hill 2. The question is, do I play it on PS5 or PC? Now, I would much rather play it on a big TV screen. So I guess it depends on whether or not I buy one for my PC. If not, I'll probably play it on PS5. I don't know. Does it matter where I play it? I'm gonna play it regardless. Does it matter where I play it at? That's the question. To me, it's not that doesn't matter. But I guess to some other people it does matter. Jez, another thing. This podcast seems a lot to be about Nate the Hate. He mentioned on his podcast was that Microsoft's internal mock reviews for Hellblade 2 are in the low 90s. He says, quote, at least internally, that is what they're anticipating. Not sure if it's fully based on mock reviews. It could just be internal mock reviews. Not sure if it's been external mock reviews, but if that is what they're projecting, it's something in the low 90s. That would be their highest Metacritic game since Gears 3. Mm. Do you trust Xbox's internal mock reviews after the Redfall disaster?
Well, I suppose Xbox is different from Bethesda's, right?
Yeah. So for those that don't know, could you explain mock reviews for people that maybe don't know exactly what mock reviews are?
So mock reviews are kind of like they're exactly that. What marketing teams will do is they'll have people play the game pre-release, maybe current or former journalists. Like, I've been asked to do a mock review before, but I've been like, nah, because I still review games now, But like former journalists, maybe current journalists do sometimes do these paid mock reviews where they're private and they're just for marketing purposes, and they're asked to be brutally honest about their thoughts and feelings about a game, right?
But to kind of like ignore the glitches and like the graphics and stuff. Right, that sort of thing, because they are playing like early builds and things like that, and I from my understanding, it's also they'll be asked to tell like the company, like the mock reviewers who are former journalists or whatever. They'll also tell the company, being like, if you fix this, and this, then you have a chance at getting this Metacritic score.
Yeah.
right? They'll tell them what they need to improve or get rid of, so their chances at receiving a higher score is attainable. And I don't know how often they do it throughout a game's life cycle. Do you know how often they do it?
I have no clue. Maybe they do it as major milestones, because like the way development often works is like the devs will be like, okay, we want to have these features done by this date and these features done by this date, and they'll call that like a milestone, and then like management will come in and be like, examine how close they are, or have they hit their milestones, have they missed their milestones. And this is often where you'll see projects start to getting cancelled when they keep missing their milestones over and over again. And these milestones have to be hit because, you know, you have to pay the devs and the things have to be cash flowed, and you sort of price out what your investment is up front ahead of actually sort of starting to sell the game and make money, right? So milestones usually have to be hit unless there's some kind of extraneous circumstances, like, I don't know, a pandemic. But yeah, I suppose. I mean, if it's true, and there's no reasons to doubt Nate, he's got a good track record.
I've heard this as well. So
okay. Well, 90 Metacritic for Hellblade. I mean,
at least
that's kind of what it looks like from the trailers, right?
Yeah, well, we know that is a game, type of game that reviewers tend to really like, right? The third-person cinematic experience. And Hellblade 1 was a good game. So, they're hoping that it's going to be an even better game. And if they have their internal mock reviews, if they have people playing it already or playing at different various stages of development, they feel pretty confident. Of course, mock reviews don't always go your way because, as Phil said on the Kind of Funny interview, that the mock reviews for Redfall were a lot higher than what the review scores ended up being at the time. And, so I think Redfall's at like a 57. I wouldn't be shocked if, I remember Phil saying they were double digits higher. I wouldn't be shocked if the mock reviews said the game would be like in the 70s. And it ended up being in like the high 50s. So, I mean, it's a good sign that if the mock reviews are saying, yo, Hellblade 2 has a chance of being like low 90s, high 80s, that's pretty good chance of being like an excellent game, one of the better games of the year. And that's, that's kind of what we expected from this game. Like every single like they've showed it a lot for how long it's been. It was 2019. We've seen it 3 times at the Game Awards. It does seem like they're very high on Hellblade. And that's usually not the case with like single player only stuff with Xbox, right? So the fact that they're kind of really putting their marketing muscle behind it maybe thinks like, hey, this could be a breakout game. Because I think we've talked about in the past where a game gets really high reviews, suddenly people look at that game and they're like, I need to play this, right? We saw what happened with Elden Ring. When Elden Ring got like a 97, people were like, what? It's that good? Oh my God, I need to play Elden Ring. Even though they weren't fans of Dark Souls. And Elden Ring went on to sell like 20 million copies. And like, I don't think any Dark Souls is above 6 million copies sold. So how the hell did it attain all those extra sales? I think it's like people that saw the reviews and were like flabbergasted. They're like, this is a game I have to play. Or even like something like Baldur's Gate 3 with all the really high reviews. It got,
despite the fact it's turn-based. I still see people criticize the fact it's turn-based, but I think it really introduced people will overlook the genre if so much of it is so good.
Yeah.
And those reviews do sort of typify.
Yeah, especially if all the reviews are like, this is one of the best games ever, you need to play it. People might be like, okay, well, I'll give it a chance. Whereas like, low reviews, 60s, 50s, people are like, I'm not playing it. And they might kind of just ignore it if it's in the 80s. Maybe they try it out. But you really get that extra attention if it's like ridiculously high. So if Xbox has Hellblade 2 come out and it's like a 92, 93, 94, that could really spark a lot of interest in the game to the point where like a lot of people might be like, all right, like this is it. This is the reason I should get an Xbox or get Game Pass or play it on PC. That could be really a huge moment for the game and for Xbox in itself to have that sort of, what would they call it, a watershed moment? Like that sort of highly rated experience, which I think a lot of people thought Starfield was going to be honest with you. I think a lot of people thought Starfield was going to be in the 90s. and be that like wake up that day and see the reviews for Starfield and be like, what? A 95? Let me play this immediately. Instead, it was kind of an 86, 87, and people were like, oh, well, that wasn't as high as I thought, and there were some lower reviews. So, I mean, it's good to hear that. I mean, it's better to hear that it's high rather than like, oh, man, the internal market reviews for Hellblade are rough. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, oh, man, they're only expecting like 75. Then you'd be like, oh, really? But the fact that, but then it starts to set your expectations. So now my expectations were already high, but now other people's expectations might be like, all right, well, I'm in for a masterpiece. And their expectations might get too high, and they might expect too much, So it could be kind of that double-edged sword. But, I mean, my expectations are through the roof. I think it's going to be one of the best games of the year. It'll probably be my game of the year already, I wouldn't doubt it if I say by the end it's my favorite game of the year, and I haven't even played it, but I am biased. Dave Ramos says in the Super Chat, I often wonder why every Xbox doesn't come with Game Pass in the box. Have you ever caught wind on why that hasn't come standard? Getting it in front of more eyes is bound to pay for itself in spades. Yeah,
again.
He wants to know why every Xbox doesn't come with Game Pass in the box. And he doesn't understand why it's not standard. And that he thinks like getting in front of more eyes is bound to pay for itself, right? Maybe it's because there's like really cheap trials. Or do they even do the cheap trials anymore? Like $1 trials anymore? I'm not even sure.
They bring them back. I think it is live right now, if I remember right. They took it away for Starfield, and they brought it back after stuff. But yeah, I think the $1 trial is live again at the moment, at least in some regions.
Yeah, I always did like, it would be cool if you bought the console and got like 3 months of Xbox Game Pass or whatever, Ultimate, and then, maybe you have to put in your credit card and you want to do that or whatever. I don't know. I don't know why maybe it is like that. I don't think you do get it. I mean, I haven't got an Xbox console since the Series X, so I'm not sure, but I don't know. They must have their reasons for why they don't. I couldn't tell you what they are. I don't know. I think there's like one PlayStation bundle that comes with PlayStation Plus, but it's not really a bundle that's there wasn't really a lot of them made, I don't think. So I'm not sure. Maybe they don't like giving it away for free. I don't know the reasoning why. Let's see what else we got here. We have. Okay, maybe we should talk about. Let's talk about Developer Direct, shall we?
Yes, Developer Direct, the direct of development.
We do have a super chat from Steven Cruz. He says the game is Psychonauts 2. Nate would have said if it was an Xbox exclusive to get clicks. Since he just said first party, that means Psychonauts 2.
It could be that.
Psychonauts 2 is already on. I mean, Psychonauts 2 was Game of the Year nomination in 2021. It is on PlayStation 4.
Nah, I don't think so. I think it'd be weird if he was like teasing it to be a big game and it's something that's already there, kind of. Right? No?
I mean, someone just linked me a thread here. Sorry, I'm getting like DMs from people and stuff. Someone linked me a thread here about like some more information, context from the podcast. So I'll just go over it. It says, 1, it's not Redfall, lol. Although they should put it on other platforms. Nate said, quote, view it from the perspective of Microsoft as a business. If you're bringing select games multi-platform outside of PC to Switch and PlayStation, your competitors' consoles, you're doing so because you want to expand its reach beyond that of just Xbox itself. He used Pentiment as an example. If something like that is ported to Switch and PlayStation, it's already a very well-received game that could sell well, and at this point, it's not driving Game Pass subscriptions. They play it and enjoy it, and then 3 years later, when a sequel comes out exclusive to Xbox PC, so the only way to play it is to buy an Xbox or PC, which Microsoft is okay with. And quote, I
can see that.
It allows Microsoft to expand their ecosystem and draw you in when the time is right. Nate reiterates that a potential sequel would be exclusive. And quote, Microsoft could be partnering with an external publisher to bring the title that Nate is referring to a multi-platform release. He also says they may self-publish. So that's more context, I guess.
I mean, it's kind of like, yeah. I mean, there are ways of doing this where it just does make sense. And you literally mentioned a game earlier with regard to that.
What?
Oxenfree. So Oxenfree was not on Xbox. Oxenfree 2. So you had to play it on PlayStation, but you wanted to play it because it was a sequel, right?
Yeah.
So launching first on Xbox while also launching older sequels on PlayStation could be a sneaky way to grow the Xbox ecosystem, I guess. But I still think people are going to be pretty upset about it. I mean, also not only that, but it will create this world where people are like, well, why aren't you doing day and date on PlayStation? You know, it's kind of weird, man. Well, but maybe that's just the way everything's going. Maybe Sony's like, God of War is not selling on PC, or I can't see Sony ever doing this, but like the business rationale is there. The business rationale is definitely there. God of War not selling on PlayStation anymore. You've sold as many copies as you possibly can. It's not selling on PC anymore. You're selling as many copies as you possibly can. Why not put it on Xbox? You know, the business rationale is kind of there. Why not put it on Switch too? You know, if it can run it. So, and Microsoft is oftentimes about the business rationale, and the business rationale's there. You know, and I think,
but here's the other thing. But if Microsoft was going to do this, why wouldn't they just pub it themselves? Why get an external publisher to do it, or why even let someone self-publish it? Like they did it with As Dust Falls. They just let them self-publish the game. Like
I don't know.
That seems
Safe
odd.
face.
I don't know. Like I don't know why Microsoft wouldn't publish it. I mean, they publish games on PlayStation as is.
Maybe Sony won't let them.
Minecraft. I would. Yeah. I mean, I maybe they won't. I don't know. It's a very interesting situation. Maybe you need to do some digging on this one. You need to find out.
I'd have to do hard work then.
Yeah, I guess that's true. You'd have to do some more work, and we don't want you to do that. But Psychonauts 2, I don't know. I mean, that's already on PS4. I mean, I guess they could make a PS5 version. Is it on with Psychonauts 2 on Switch, Jez? Does chat Psychonauts 2 on Switch?
Let me. No, I don't think it was.
Let me think. Let me bring up Google.
Hang on. Let me ask.
Okay.
Microsoft Copilot.
Okay.
Let me ask Copilot. Was Psychonauts? I don't think it was. Psychonauts 2 on Nintendo Switch. Microsoft Copilot, the ultimate AI. Let's see how accurate it is. According to an article on Shack News, there are no current plans to bring Psychonauts 2 to Nintendo Switch. So That's what Copilot says, but is it actually true or not? You have to check these things with AI.
Yeah, you do got to check these things with AI.
No, it's not on Switch.
So it's just on PS4 and the Xbox and PC. So
yeah,
and it was a game. It was the Game of the Year contender. And the year came out in 2021.
So maybe put that on Switch.
So maybe they let Double Fine self-publish it on Switch, or another publisher comes in to publish it. Well, who published the PS4 version? Was it Microsoft?
I have no idea. Psychonauts 2 on Switch, I'm surprised they haven't done it already. It makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, I see this.
I suppose porting it would be a little difficult. It's for a cartoony game, it's quite visually impressive at times.
Right. All right, let's talk about this developer direct. So, a lot of rumors flying around, and even there's Double Fine might even tie into this one too, Jez. There's a lot of rumors flying around about a developer direct. There was one rumor that basically said it was coming the week of the 24th, which was the same week it came last year, right? Which is like a safe bet. Like, oh, I bet you the Xbox Developer Direct is coming the week, the 24th or the 25th, which would have been the same exact sort of time frame as the one a year ago. People had talked about the idea of maybe there being another Shadow Drop, right? Hi-Fi Rush very successful with the Shadow Drop. Maybe there's another one this time. Yeah, and there's some talk about Double Fine. They did put out a tweet where they said, hey, They mentioned that they're working on some games and they'll show them when the time's right, sort of thing. But, there's this talk of like Double Fine might shadow drop or announce their game Kiln, Kiln, which was a game I think they put on hold when they had to finish Psychonauts 2. And, they finished Psychonauts 2 in 2021.
Do we know much about Kiln, if anything?
I think I want to say it's a multiplayer game of some kind, like a party game maybe. I don't really know the specifics about it. Because I think they were building 2 games, or at least one game when they were doing Psychonauts 2 and one other game. And then I think they put everybody on Psychonauts 2, so they had to put Kiln on hold. But now Psychonauts 2 is finished, and I think they went back to making multiple games, and even in their tweet it says like games. So maybe Kiln is one of those games that get a shadow drop, but it's like if you do 2 shadow drops back to back, you're setting the expectations that at a developer direct every year there's going to be a shadow drop, right? If you do one in 2023 and then one in 2024, you kind of setting the expectations that every single developer direct's going to have a shadow drop, and I'm not sure that's like a thing you want to do. But either way, so there was the one rumor about it being the week of the 24th, and now there's a rumor, I think it was from Reddit. I saw the article from Tom Henderson over at Inside Gaming that said Xbox Developer Direct will be held the 3rd week of January, which is between January 15th to the 19th. This comes from a Reddit user, Xantom, who has been accurate in revealing showcase events in the past. He wrote, quote, "The first Xbox event of the year is going to be the week of the 14th. Can't speak on the shadow drop rumors, but the date has now been set in stone." So, I mean, I've been pretty positive there's a developer direct this year. Sounds like it's coming. If you look at the calendar, you would imagine probably it's going to be announced next week, I would imagine. If it's, they did make the announcement, the original announcement a year ago would be, for next week. That was the one where you leaked it 2 days in advance, I think. And they weren't happy with you whatsoever.
Well, they sent me an email.
And they did. So, yeah, so we could be having the direct 2 weeks from now instead of 3 weeks from now. But either way, it sounds like it's happening, which is good because this is a format that we were both very high on, and we've, also very, very much of the opinion Xbox needs to do more showcases, not less, right? And now that they have the games and all these sort of things, it's like, yes, now you're setting the expectations that people can expect a developer direct at the beginning of the year. You have 2 times now, it's going to be in January. So, going forward, you can probably expect one January next year. Now, we did get a super chat earlier, would this be the venue to talk about Activision Blizzard, Jez? What do you think? Would this be the venue to announce that Activision Blizzard games are going into Game Pass? Is that something you would do at this developer direct? Is this developer direct something where you would go and maybe talk to some of the other developers at Activision Blizzard? Or would that be saved for later? What do you think on that?
I think they've probably already talked about what the plans for that is, because it's trivial to move games across to Game Pass if they're ready to do it, but it would be back catalog stuff. It would be stuff that isn't still selling. It would be stuff that isn't going to necessarily impact cash flow in a negative kind of way. So like it could be back catalog stuff, maybe old Call of Duty games, maybe old Blizzard games. Diablo 3 into cloud, for example. People still play Diablo 3, and it's a kind of a perfect kind of game for cloud. I would have thought. So who knows, man? I wanna believe that there'll be some kind of platform announcements for the developer direct, because I think just announcing games is awesome. There's nothing wrong with that. But at the same time, it would be cool to get some extra stuff on top to sweeten everything.
Sweeten the deal. I mean, does platform announcements make sense in something titled a developer direct? I'm not sure that it does.
Well, if you're a platform.
Oh, so now we're splitting hairs on what developer means.
Yeah, well, no. If you're a platform developer, bro,
I mean, so. I guess. So yeah, I mean, the Activision stuff. I mean, they did say 2024. Is it possible? Yeah, I don't know. I think maybe some of the holdup is the PC stuff. They want all that stuff on PC, but how do you do it? You're not going to build like new PC versions of the games, right? And put them onto PC Game Pass. Do you find some way to integrate Battle.net with PC Game Pass so people can just access those games on Battle.net? I can't imagine them just being like, well, we need to like build a whole bunch of different versions of these games to put them on PC that may not exist, right? Because, yeah, maybe like getting them onto console Game Pass is simple because they're already on the store. You know, you can add all the back-and-pack COD games. You can add like all the, you know, like a bunch of Crash games. You know, Crash Team Rumble needs it, right? I don't know how many people are playing Crash Team Rumble anymore.
Crash Team Rumble definitely needs it, yeah.
See, but here's the thing. I don't know if it was me, I wouldn't do it here because I would do it later because I would want multiple sort of news items and news days to myself. You know, I'm already going to get one with this developer direct. Here's our lineup for the, you know, for the year, right? And then like a couple weeks later, it's like boom, all right, here's our Activision plans. You know, you can spread those things out and get more eyes on your platform and your coverage rather than just combining it all into one thing, right? I mean, this isn't that's sort of what I would do, especially with a thing called the Developer Direct. I'm not sure Activision. I mean, they are a developer, but I'm kind of thinking Developer Direct is going to be more based on what it was last year. I think Xbox had a lot of, and when I talked to people at Xbox, they really liked the feedback they got from the fans about it. They were really happy with how it all came out. So it definitely seemed like, yeah, they're going to continue to do this. And I would imagine it's going to be the same format. It'll be, okay, this is what we're planning on releasing. So I think we will see Hellblade 2, and I think it'll get a release date because, you know, you kind of have to at this point. If you're going to show it again and give a gameplay demonstration, you're going to have to give the release date. That's what people have been waiting for. It's just a question of when. Is it releasing in the first half of the year or is it releasing in the second half of the year, right? I remember having this conversation with you last year when we were talking about Starfield. Hey, when Starfield's going to releasing? First half of the year or second half of the year? Before the end of June? Because remember, everybody was like, well, they have to release it by June because otherwise they lied. They broke their promise because they said everything that you see will be out in 12 months, which was still the dumbest thing they could do, but whatever. Xbox sometimes just makes decisions. It's like, why'd you do that? But yeah, so Hellblade gameplay demonstration, you know, some interviews, and then you're probably going to have, they'll give a release date. Towerborn, a game that you played at Gamescom, which you liked a lot, which you think people are underestimating, right? You think?
Yeah, I think some people are underestimating. Yeah, it's Killer Instinct combat development and stuff like that. But yeah, Towerborn should be a cool one.
Yeah, so Towerborn will be, you know, I think you'll see more gameplay. I mean, we haven't really seen that much gameplay. We've just seen one trailer of it, right? So we haven't really seen much of that. They'll probably do a blowout. They'll give us a release date. Avowed, that's another game that's been dated for 2024. Probably shows up again. Probably show some things off. Maybe give a release date. You know, stuff like Microsoft Flight Sim could be there easily. Even stuff like Our History Untold, right? Like you have games that are announced that you could easily show. But you know, that's like the thing. Like, hey, do you have a Kiln? We do have a super chat here from Gold Shell that says Kiln has a 1 hour long gameplay on YouTube. So I guess there's gameplay up on it on YouTube already.
Oh, really? I should go and check that out.
Yeah. Maybe. You know, and you know, we know, like Matt Booty said, there's more unannounced games for 2024. What could they be? We always speculated, like, hey, is there a Forza Horizon 6 this year? Does that really make sense for a developer direct, or does that make sense more for an Xbox showcase in June? You know, what about the rumored Gears collection? Is that coming out this year? Could that precede the release of Gears 5? What about any surprises, right? What about like something from Bethesda, like Indiana Jones, a game that was revealed in January of 2021, which we know nothing about. In fact, we only know it's exclusive because of the FTC trial. It's been quite a bit of time. Is that something like a surprise that could show up at this thing, or maybe or maybe its game, like you have a hope, or is that, better held off until the summer showcase? So
There's a large amount of stuff they could show off. A
yeah,
large amount.
but I think you're probably I think the date's correct, or at least around that time frame. It makes a lot of sense. There's a lot of smoke around the whole thing, so yeah, developer direct is coming. And I think it's going to be very similar to last year's. You'll get like, okay, this is our roadmap, and it's just a matter of when the games are releasing. Like I still holding out hope that like Hellblade is March, April, May kind of time frame, but it very well could be like October, end of the year. But we'll just have to wait and see. I mean, what do you want to see out of Developer Direct? If I basically just nailed everything we'd want to see, essentially everything, or at least everything we were probably going to see, because
I'd love to get some true surprises, like a Hi-Fi Rush, something like not even rumored. I mean, I know Jeff Grubb kind of came out with the Hi-Fi Rush stuff, but I wasn't even then. I wasn't expecting it to be what it was, like this sort of rhythm brawler game. It was super unique. So like something, just a surprise. I'd be happy with a cool ass surprise, something unique, something we haven't seen before. To get us excited and about the future. I'd honestly love to see some kind of platform tease, even if it's like, I know you said that it's not it's developer direct, not platform direct, but I would love to see some kind of platform tease, and I'd also really like to see the Starfield expansion.
Yeah, they could do that. Yeah, you're right. Starfield could be there with an expansion.
Yeah, I think the Starfield expansion would be a good way to sort of shift the current negativity towards something more future facing. But maybe it's too early for that. Bethesda tends to operate on its own cadence, so we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, Starfield's that's a big expansion that could easily be there. They could have Todd talk about the expansion and maybe get a release date for it. I mean, I always thought the expansion would be like released around the 1-year anniversary of the game, but maybe it comes sooner. I mean, I would like that. Maybe it's like, all right, we got Shattered Space coming out in March. That would be a cool thing. I mean, there's also, I guess, is it too early though? Is it though?
It depends, I suppose.
Well,
if they were developing it.
This is also like first party stuff, right? We do know that Stalker 2 is supposed to be launching in the first quarter, like January, February, March. Is there a chance you see Stalker 2 at this thing as well? Like, I know they have the exclusivity with Xbox. Xbox kind of like helping them out a lot. Do you think that's more suited to like a third party partner showcase like they did towards the end of last year? Like, because sometimes Xbox likes to do, I don't know. I'm kind of, because I think you already set it up with Developer Direct or just games from your first party or games that you own, even though like Minecraft Legends was there and they didn't really own the developer that made Minecraft Legends. They do obviously own the Minecraft IP, right? But like with something like Stalker 2 be included because it is like a big release for Xbox, even though it's not something they own, is that something that could make a Developer Direct? Or would you shove that off into a partner direct?
Nah, I think that could be there. I mean, Phil literally was saying how, they consider anything they're publishing and funding to be first party, and they are funding Stalker 2 in a significant way, even if like it will eventually go to the platforms,
See, I disagree with you.
I'll go on then.
I think it should be in a partner direct.
Whether it should be or not is a different matter.
Well, they've already shown that they want to do partner directs. So like, I think the way I view the Xbox like event structure, right, is like, boom, every January you have, all right, this is the roadmap for at least the first 6 months or for the year, right? These are the games that are coming out from first party. Boom, 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 or games that we own, right? This is what to expect. Then maybe we have an early partner direct. You know how Sony has a state of play, and there's rumors that there's a state of play coming from PlayStation, which makes sense because there's Helldivers 2 coming, and potentially one of the biggest games of the year, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. So, like, yeah, I bet you Square Enix wants that marketing. So, yeah, it makes sense that State of Play would be there with Final Fantasy VII Rebirth leading the way. It's like, hey, look at this. There's rumors that, like, a Nintendo Direct is going to come soon. So, like, I feel like you do the Developer Direct. It's your first-party stuff. It's your roadmap for the year. Then you also have a Partner Direct. And, you know, we know they do this sort of stuff with it at Xbox and IGN, where they're like, here's some games coming from it at Xbox. But this would be more of the bigger games. And that would be where you show off, like, Stalker 2. That would be where you maybe, like, show off, you know, like something like Replace, which is supposed to be 2024 now, or Flintlock, or, you know, some of the other games coming to the Xbox platform that you sort of have marketing for, or at least in Game Pass. And that's what you can that's what you can expect in, like, maybe the first half of the year. And then, boom, you have the showcase, which is, like, the big moment, right? Where it's, like, Xbox Bethesda, ABK, you have an hour and a half, hour 45 showcase showing you updates to, you know, the live service games like Overwatch and Halo and Forza. But you got the big new announcements from all the new teams that could be years away. And it sets up, like, you know, games coming out years down the road. And then you get the individual stuff like QuakeCons, where you could maybe show some more things. You got BlizzCons and sort of stuff. And then maybe you have another Partner Direct towards the end of the year showcasing some of the games coming out in the fall, as they always are. And boom, rinse and repeat. I think that's, like, kind of, I don't know, I think that's, like, the template for what you need to do. Right? At least in my mind, if I was running things, that's what I would do. I'd be like, Developer Direct at the beginning, Partner Direct in the beginning, but maybe like February, March, right? Showcasing games that are coming out early. Boom, then you hit your showcase, and it's the big moments, the new reveals, big games, updates, and then boom, you get the smaller stuff for your other publishers, and then you have another Partner Direct towards the end of the year, and rinse repeat. I think it's all laid out right there. It's beautiful. I think it works, Jez, you know?
Well, maybe you should become their marketing manager, bro.
I mean, I think the marketing manager, we're on the same wavelength, because it seems like that's what's actually happening.
Well, we're
You
good.
know? So, yeah, we're good. I mean,
good for you, bro.
There's other things. South of Midnight, could it show up? That was kind of like, when I said that, that was more of a surprise. Because it's like, okay, yeah, it's kind of just, oh, we'll see Hellblade, we'll see Avowed, we'll see this and that. It's already announced. You expect to see those things. But sometimes you got to spice it up a little bit. But you have to spice it up in a way that could be realistic, right? You can't be like, you know, Gear 6 will be there. Because I'm doubtful Gear 6 shows up in a Developer Direct or something ridiculous. So it's like, you know, South of Midnight could be there. You know, we know it's coming. There's rumors that it could be this year. So maybe it's like, oh, we have a surprise. People can take a look at this. Whatever. I mean, Kiln could be that. Nobody really expected anything from Double Fine until rumors started popping up recently. Or even like a surprise where it's like, boom, here's its game. Imagine like you're sitting down watching it, right? And you see, you know, here's Hellblade and you get a date, and here's Avowed and you get a date, and you're really happy with what you see, and then you get a surprise at the end. It's like, boom, here's Indiana Jones or something, right? And it's like, boom, like something you weren't expecting to see, right? Like Hi-Fi Rush, even though it wouldn't necessarily shadow drop, but like the excitement levels of people when they saw something they weren't expecting, it's like, oh man, look at that, right? That's damn cool. Like it's worth it to tune into Developer Direct to get a surprise like that, or you know what I mean?
Yeah, great.
Anyways,
Well, we'll see.
We'll see. I mean, it sounds like we don't got much longer to wait, because honestly, this next week's podcast might be more of a repeat of this, because if it is coming in 2 weeks, they probably announce it next week. So the next week I can put Xbox Developer Direct in the title again and be like, guess what? It's confirmed. What are our predictions? Even though we talked about it a lot already, right?
Yes.
And then the following week would be our receptions to it. So, but I do disagree with you about the idea of there being platform. I think you can save those things. Like, you can spread them out. Why put them all in one show when you can have them like multiple weeks with multiple news items, bro? You know? I know you're greedy because you want it, but I'm just saying, if you're looking at it
greedy because I want it.
I know you're very greedy. Very greedy.
Baby.
You're like, give me
very
this stuff.
greedy, baby.
Yeah. Parasite Green says, I think we get a Contraband shadow drop in the summer with an Avalanche Studios acquisition announcement and hopefully a Killer Instinct reboot. Great show, lads, as always. Jez,
Man, I completely forgot about Killer
what is
Instinct.
going on?
Dude, there is so much going on at Xbox right now. It's so hard to keep up with all this stuff. Constant, like people are saying, like bringing up things like Killer Instinct, and
Yeah.
then you remember things like some of the smaller studios, like you know Double Fine and all that kind of stuff. And when all these things keep coming up in different ways, it just kind of
It's overwhelming.
It's overwhelming. It
And
starts to paint a
we're
picture of
people
how
who
big
follow the platform kind of religiously in a way, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's still desperately difficult to keep up sometimes.
Desperately difficult. I like that.
Yeah.
Desperately difficult. But even still,
Yes.
Killer Instinct, I saw some job postings by Iron Galaxy. Is that for maybe Killer Instinct 2? Or is Killer Instinct 2 already being worked on? And he brings up Contraband. A lot of people talking about Contraband, being like, where the F is Contraband? Are we going to see it this year? I don't know. I mean, I know you confirmed that it was still being worked on, which, I mean, obviously, I don't think anybody thought it was canceled. It was just that they really went silent for a while.
It's nice to get reiteration, I suppose.
Yeah, and it would be cool if it was I mean, I don't know. A lot of people, we need to kind of stop being like, well, it could be a shadow drop. I mean, like what? Like, we know
Everything is shadow drop.
Everything, just drop it. No need for marketing. No need for prior notification. Just now, Contraband's out. Everybody,
shadow drop, baby. Shadow drop everything.
I don't think Contraband's this year. I think Xbox. I mean, if you look at like what's announced, you got Avowed and Hellblade, and Towerborn and Microsoft Flight Sim. Right, that's 4 games. And imagine if you get, obviously there's COD, which is going to be the biggest game of the year, Microsoft's biggest release ever, probably. Black Ops Cold Gulf War. That's 5, right?
World of Warcraft is launching an expansion that year.
Not going to be bigger than COD.
Of course, what are you talking about?
Hey, could WoW come to consoles this year?
Not this year.
All right, let me ask you this: if World of Warcraft is coming to consoles, would it be an Xbox exclusive or would it be everywhere?
It'd be everywhere.
It'd be everywhere. You think? Okay, yeah, that probably makes the most sense. So you don't think
like you don't do that work, that effort to port the game and then not put it everywhere. I kind of feel like, but there is some. I'm really intrigued by this, like how they're going to achieve this, because the game is fundamentally a PC game, like fundamentally. The game's designed around having mods. It's the whole, like, because it has this mod layer or like user interface mods. People will literally like they will make a mod that tells you if someone's a console player, and then not invite them to a group, because someone with a console is not going to be able to perform at the same level as someone who can turn with a keyboard and mouse. It's like, because some things require you to do like a rapid 180 turns and do this stuff that I just don't think you can do with a controller. It's fundamentally designed for a mouse, especially like healing. Like, I don't know how you be a healer in a raid without a mouse, because you have to click on like people's profiles and stuff, and there can be anywhere up to 25, 30 people in a raid. So yeah, I really don't know how this is going to work, but hey, they're paid to figure it out, I guess.
Yeah, I mean,
and I think it will happen. I still think it will happen. I just don't know how. I just don't know how it's going to happen, but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean,
but it won't be this year. It's going to take time.
What if they're already working on it though? What if it's like one of those things that they were already close to?
Well, I think they really want to get WoW back to a better place. And this year's like, PC Gamer wrote a rare positive article about Blizzard.
Wow, this is very rare.
Yeah, very rare. And it was like WoW's had its best year ever this year, and I really think that's probably true. Like, it's nowhere near as big as it used to be. Like, I think it had like 30 million during Wrath of the Lich King era back in the day. But it's firing on all cylinders right now. Like, there's so many different ways to play, so many different modes. They got like a huge roadmap, like 6-year roadmaps never done before. They got Chris Metzen back, the guy co-creator, and all this stuff. So like, it really does feel like it's had its best year ever. But that's why I think like they probably want to invest in maintaining that PC momentum rather than confusing the proposition by bringing console into it. But hey, I mean, I could be wrong.
Yeah, I mean, Xbox could have like up to like 7 or 8 games this year, depending on like what stuff is unannounced. You know, you already know like 4 or 5 of them. But it's just a matter of when do they release, and I think we find out a lot at the developer direct. But Spartan, he says, "Hey Rand, thanks for showing spoilers for the game that just got released on PS5. Those POSs are happy about a game they now have that we had last year." I mean, are you talking about this Plague Tale Requiem game? I mean, this game has been out on PlayStation 5. It came out October of 2022, so I mean, it's not really spoilers. It's literally also the beginning of the game, and I think you mentioned it's coming to PlayStation 5, PlayStation Plus. It's their January game. Because Xbox also had a Game Pass drop, and they're adding stuff like Assassin's Creed Valhalla. But like, yeah, this isn't. I wouldn't call these spoilers. Nathan wants to know: has Xbox finished the PC stutter on Game Pass? Oh. Is there PC stutter on Game Pass?
I don't have any stutter on Game Pass on PC.
Yeah,
I play a lot of games on different platforms on PC Game Pass, and I don't have any stutter. First I've heard about that.
Yeah, I haven't heard. I mean, I'm not really well versed in the PC stuff, so I don't know.
If you wanna message me on Twitter, I can look into it a bit.
Parasite says, I think Contraband will be an online-only co-op Mercenaries meets Just Cause, and that's why I think a Shadow Drop. Online co-op Mercenaries meets Just Cause. Okay. Well, I mean, your guess is as good as anybody's because we haven't seen it, so we don't know what it looks like. All right, so that's developer direct. Baldur's Gate, Jez, had some pictures.
Baldur's Gate is single-handedly upending all of Xbox's policies.
Dude, Larian is just throwing their weight around, just getting stuff done. They're like, Series S parity clause? Nuh-uh. We're done. We're doing it. We're releasing. Now it's like people getting banned for uploading nudie pics on their Xbox. Larian's like, not on my watch. You know?
Yeah, it's shout out to Genbox 360. Like Jen visited me today in at my house, and we were talking about this a bit, and she was so paranoid she had to like go through all of her Xbox captures and delete all the smuts that she'd saved from Baldur's Gate into a library and stuff. But the thing, this isn't new though. Like Xbox has been doing this for years, and I've called them out for it before. They did it with Cyberpunk.
Yes, they did.
They did it with The Witcher. Like if you take a picture of the sex scenes in these games and it gets automatically uploaded, they will ban your ass, which is just so dumb. Because it's like, bro, this, even if you don't share it publicly, it's like, bro, this is content on your platform, and you're saying content on your platform shouldn't be viewed on your platform, then shouldn't you guys ban yourself? You know, it's literally your platform, and the pixels that form these scary naked parts, they are literally coming from your platform. So shouldn't you ban yourself? Shouldn't Xbox ban itself from its own platform? Because it's a dumb policy. So like it's you know, it was dumb back in the day. It's dumb now. It's still dumb, and it's good that, you know, they're reversing these bans, because it's just stupid. It makes no sense. You know, it's completely fine if you take a picture of like someone violently, brutally murdered, but if there's like a little bit of innocent, consensual nudity between consenting aliens in a, you know, Mass Effect or something like that, come the on,
dude,
man.
it's that whole thing of chopping someone's head off. That's perfectly fine, but seeing a little glimpse of that nip, yeah,
like it's so, yeah, it is weird in like some of the dungeons in Diablo, for example. Like they're cultist bases and they're full of dead bodies, and the dead bodies are mutilated, they're cut up, they're hung and beheaded and all this kind of stuff. They've all got perfectly covered up underwear. You know, there's no like these cultists. They're evil and you know, psychotic and deranged, but they're also very modest, and they're also very respectful of people's body privacy. They'll cut your head off and they'll cut your arms off and stuff, but they will not violate your right to privacy. So yeah, the whole logic around this whole stuff is just, it's really cringe, and it's sort of, you know, really outdated. But that's
Yep. So
it's
Larian tweeted out this. They said, Xbox players who capture clips have been flagged, and Xbox should now see their bans begin to lift, because there was one guy who literally got banned for a whole year
that is just
for having clips
absurd, man.
that
It's
it's because I think it's automatically enabled for you to upload stuff. So if you take a clip, it just automatically uploads anyways. Maybe that stuff should be off by default. But then it's like you said.
I made that argument before too, and I've spoken to Xbox people about this, and I've said, look, if you're gonna have this enabled by default, and you've got this policy, you've got to turn this off by default, because it's super unfair that you ban someone for taking a screenshot of something that you would take a screenshot of. Like, come on. And everyone's going to take a screenshot of this kind of stuff. I don't care who you are. Everyone secretly wants to, see that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So you take a screenshot of it, and then you get banned because you.
Not only do you get banned, it'd be one thing if you were maybe banned for 24 hours, banned for a whole year.
But even banned for 24 hours, it shouldn't happen, man.
No, it shouldn't happen.
It shouldn't happen.
But it isn't, like you said, this isn't the first time it's happened. Microsoft has this weird. I don't know if they're trying to protect young users on their platform or something, where it's like, you saw some nip, or you saw a dick or something. We need to ban you for whatever reason, because, like you said, the games of. I guess maybe their argument would be like, well, you choose to buy it, right? But if you share it, then there might be some people who didn't want to see it will now see it or something.
Well, this is the thing. If you're a minor on the platform, you should have everything turned off by default anyway.
Sure,
because that's like the way the platform works. But I don't know. I mean, back in the day when Xbox had like this social layer, and like the Xbox app, if you go like to the Xbox app on PC right now, it used to have a feed of clips and stuff that people had shared from Xbox. That's all gone now. You don't see any of that stuff anymore. There's no community tab. If I go on my Xbox right now, and is there even a community tab on Xbox now? I don't think there is. Okay, so there's friends and community updates, and I click into that.
I think there is like a social thing, but you have to like add it to your home. I don't think it's automatically there by default.
Yeah, it is there. It is there by default, and it's like shared by friends. I've got a ton of achievements, tons of achievements. I can't see any screenshots anyone's shared. I can't even filter it by screenshots.
I don't even have that. Like I think I got rid of that on my. I don't have that pinned to home.
So there's also this like popular on Xbox, which is trending content, and by the looks of that too, it's just all random stuff. So if I swap this by, so you can only even see it by friends or favorites. So it's not even like you can see public clips anymore. It seems like this is all. Oh no! Okay,
I think if you go into like Baldur's Gate 3 and you look at clips, it'll show clips of like people that have uploaded everything from Baldur's Gate 3.
Okay, so yeah, so popular on Xbox, and then screenshots. Mostly it's just people screenshotting their wins in FIFA and Fortnite. Okay, someone shared someone's ass from Call of Duty. There's a picture of Powerpuff Girls in Minecraft. Oh, this is pretty fun, actually. But yeah, I don't know, man. It's like you have to click into multiple menus to find that, and like, who's even seeing that stuff? Like, Xbox is less of a social network than it ever has been. I think Microsoft's kind of capitulated to Discord in that context.
Yeah,
so,
I think they have.
I think this is probably. It's an outdated policy that they're rightfully walking back, because maybe back in the day when Xbox was like, still figuring some of this stuff out, it was like fair to have an overabundance of caution, but we're way away from those days now.
Yeah. Larry also says, if you're wanting to upload any clips in the meantime, make sure to turn off mature content. So, but why would you want to turn off mature content though?
Yeah, it's the whole point of the game.
Joe Repko says, and yet Twitter won't ban Jez for bean pics. Shaking my head. I know, right?
You can't get banned on Twitter for doing anything these days.
Yeah, that's true. You can do whatever you want on Twitter, basically.
I've reported racism and all this kind of stuff, and then Twitter just comes back with, "Oh no, that doesn't violate our rules. We're totally cool with that stuff."
Yeah,
it's like, yeah, we'll see what the European Union says about that when they finish their investigation. But yeah. Oh well.
Well, if you guys are enjoying the show, make sure you hit the like button, share this out, let everyone know we're live, and subscribe if you haven't already. We'd greatly appreciate it. Yeah, I don't know, like what else there really wasn't much to a lot of like big things that happened this week. You know, it's the first week of January. I think they're just kind of coming back from
a lot of people are still on vacation.
Yeah,
some people
still on
are coming back into
vacation.
the office.
Well, it's like we
start gearing up.
Well,
again.
we also didn't take a break. We also did podcasts the last couple of weeks, so we covered all the major topics, right? You know, Xbox Next Gen 2026. We talked about, you know, last week, and I think we even talked about the week before the Insomniac leaks and sustainability of AAA. I see that's also been a big topic, you know, going on still. So it's like, yeah, you know, but it's about to kick up into high gear because we're going to develop a direct soon. We're going to get release dates for a lot of Xbox games, you know, and there's going to be more announcements and more games to play. You know, people are playing Prince of Persia right now. That's like the first big game of the year. So 2024 is about to kick off. So, but if you want to support us, you can always do so with Super Chats or Patreon, patreon.com, where we take questions from the peeps at the end of every episode, as well as, you know, people get access to the exclusive shows we do and other things. So, Jez, I'm going to bring up the Patreon questions, and we're going to go through some Patreon questions now. What do you think?
Sick. Sounds good to me, bro.
All right. So if you're a patron and you haven't dropped your question in here, make sure you get in here, drop your question. You got some time. So we have Lee Sanders. Says, say the developer direct is happening. Which 4 games are you showing? In what order do you show the games? And finally, what game is getting shadow dropped out of nowhere? Well, we talked a little bit about this, but I guess we didn't talk about, like, what order do you show the games in?
That's true.
If there's a shadow drop, wouldn't that be the last thing you show? Isn't that how you would end the show, right? They did last year. Yeah. Hi-Fi Rush was... What? No. Hi-Fi Rush wasn't last. Hi-Fi Rush was second, wasn't it? I'm trying to remember. And anybody in chat, do you remember what closed the show? Was it Red? No, was it Redfall that closed the show, right? I'm trying to remember, because I know you won't remember. You never remember anything.
No, I do not remember, no.
I'm trying to remember. I think it was Redfall that closed the show. Because I think it started with Minecraft Legends. And then I want to say it went to... Yeah, it was Minecraft Legends. Then they went to Hi-Fi Rush. Then they went to Forza Motorsport, and they didn't have a date because it was delayed, right? And then it was like Forza Motorsport. I think that's how it went. Something like that.
Something like that.
Alvin says Hi-Fi Rush was third. It was the middle of the show. Okay, was it third then? I was trying to remember it. I'm trying to remember a show that I watched like one time from last year. My memory's pretty good, but it's not like super great.
Not.
But I know. I mean, I think it was Minecraft Legends and then Hi-Fi Rush and then Forza. I know it was before Forza because I knew people were going to be upset that Forza gotten delayed, but it didn't really seem like people were because Hi-Fi Rush was coming out and it was the drop. Sil says Hi-Fi was after the Forza delay. Oh, I guess you could be right. Okay, Ray says it was Minecraft Legends, Forza Motorsport, Hi-Fi Rush, ESO, and then Redfall. Okay, so Redfall did close, but Hi-Fi Rush was after Forza because of the delay. Okay, yeah, okay, you're right. I totally forgot about Elder Scrolls. That's right. That's why I couldn't remember the other game, because I don't think about Elder Scrolls ever. Yo, look who's in chat. We have Miles Dampier. He's back. Miles Dampier. I really miss talking to Miles about games. I miss being on Xbox Chatter days with my boy. But he's doing bigger and better things. He's on the opposite side now, though. He's a dev. He's not a gamer like us anymore.
No, doesn't play any games ever. No.
Miles used to talk to me all the time, and then he became a dev, and I don't even hear from Miles. I don't even hear from him. I hear nothing from him. It's just
too
like
good
I
for
guess it's like when you get promoted to being a developer, it's like and talk to
We
these
need
gamers,
to.
these Xbox
We need
gamers.
to. What we should do is we should get Miles on Xbox 2+1 and discuss his new dev life sometime.
Yeah, we should.
That'd be cool.
So I mean, I guess you would. I would say you would. If you have a shadow drop, do you end with that? If you have like a surprise, if you're showing something else that nobody expects, you would end with that. Like if you're showing off like.
Depends on the scale of the drop. Like, is it something like really, really hype? Or is it something smaller like a Hi-Fi Rush? Because people describe Hi-Fi Rush as a smaller game, right? Fair or not. Um, and I suppose like in some contexts you could describe it in that way, but if it's something like if it's like a big surprise, then maybe then you make a big of song or dance about it. I don't know.
Well, I mean, if it's a surprise, I think you end the show with it, or it's shadow drop, you end the show. But if I was if I was like, okay, these are the games we have, I would probably open with Towerborn. Then I would probably do Avowed, and then I would go to Microsoft Flight Sim, and then I would go to Hellblade. Like, if anything, I would end it with Hellblade if I don't really have. Well, actually, no. Now that Hi-Fi Rush wasn't shadow dropped, I guess you could put it anywhere. But I guess you would, whatever the biggest thing was. So I think Hellblade 2 ends it, unless they have like a big surprise they want to show. Otherwise, you could just have Double Fine, shadow drop, Kiln, and that could be second or third or fifth. But I think it's like you start with Towerborn, you do Avowed. If there's something else, you do it there, and then it's like Flight Sim. But I think you end with Hellblade unless you have something bigger. So, ProStar 2 says, what are some of the positive impacts that AI can have on the gaming experience? Additionally, what are some of the features or the functionalities of AI that you'd like to see Xbox take advantage of? That sounds like a question for you, Jez. Positive impacts that AI can have on the gaming experience.
Yeah, I suppose like user-generated content's an obvious one.
Yeah.
Like, generate. I mean, one of the things like this dumb stuff, simple stuff, and easy stuff. Like, for example, if you are one thing people always talk about is like when they're doing character creator, for example. If you're doing a character creator in Fallout or doing a character creator in Starfield or something, maybe instead of like spending 50 years in the character creator, you just say to it like, create me a nerdy looking dude with a beard and ponytail and glasses or something like that, and then it sort of runs through the character creator for you or something. So there's like simple stuff like that, right? But I just think like on a grander scale, you're talking about things like Minecraft, generate me a Fortnite clone, and it'll write all the code that's necessary to make a Fortnite clone in Minecraft. Like, dude, these are things that are happening right now with Copilot and stuff. You can that's the kind of thing that will be a thing. You'll be able to go into Halo Forge and say, make me an Among Us clone that with a spaceship map, and instead of like someone plays like a flood form disguised as a Spartan or something, this kind of stuff, and then it'll just do it. So the like user generated content's a big one. But who knows? Like there could be games that are just native to this kind of stuff. It's hard to imagine what will happen, but it'll be bottlenecked by server capacity, because like if you've got millions of people trying to feed ChatGPT bullshit, it's going to blow up the servers, right?
I mean, I get the user generated stuff, but like, what about devs working on games to help? Like, can they use it to make more quests or more dialogue that they don't got to spend working on? Or how do they more efficiently create content that would help drive down costs of these expensive games? Is there a way to use that with AI to help with any of that?
I think we talked about it before, like the concept of, for example, instead of having someone manually design a small object in the game, like for example, I'm walking around Diablo right now, there's like little objects like flags and barrels just lying on the ground. Maybe you have AI do that, like fence posts, little shrubs, random textures. Maybe you have AI do some of that stuff, right? I mean, Photoshop and stuff like that already has these kind of features in it anyway. You know, it's just kind of an extension of that, which is why some of the pearl clutching is, I've seen from some corners of the internet is a bit weird, because it's like, well, when you talk about like Photoshop, for example, Photoshop has already had AI kind of features in it for a long time, like especially with like the healing brush, for example, like kind of in that context, So I don't know. We'll see how it all plays out. I suppose like we've got a bunch of different players talking about their plans to use it. Square Enix talked about it.
Yeah, I saw that.
Microsoft's developing these tools. They've got Microsoft has a whole team incubating these kind of tools right now. But I do know that there's a lot of nervousness about how to position this from a PR context. Like how do you come out and talk about this without pissing everyone off? Because there is that fear, that you could like upset people and that you could get cancelled or whatever for daring to do this. Like the whole discourse about uh either Xbox using a Bing image creator just to say Happy Christmas, and then everyone was all triggered about it. It's that kind of stuff, right? It's so weird, and everyone's got to have like an outraged opinion about everything these days, but I don't know.
Yeah, well, we actually have a lot of questions about AI. Nate Miller says, I'm mostly cautious about whether AI can be beneficial to gaming, not because I'm one of those AI Skynet guys, but mostly because I've yet to see AI do anything that was even 5% as interesting or innovative as humans doing the same task. If Microsoft,
I agree with that.
If Microsoft is insisting on AI in all facets of their business, I'm going to need them and Xbox to do some serious convincing that'll provide real-world day-to-day value to my customer experience and their ecosystem.
No, I mean that's completely true. It's I think like where people get tripped up about this is this idea that AI will do the whole thing. I don't think we'll be in a situation where AI will do everything. It's going to be a tool. It's going to be like in Photoshop, where, like I said, Photoshop already has AI stuff in it. Like the healing brush, where it detects what's around your brush and then it pulls in and sort of blurs that kind of stuff over it. It's had that for a while, and this is kind of like an extension of that. So I think AI will be a great tool when guided by human ingenuity and human inspiration. I don't think we're gonna get to a point where fully AI generated content replaces what humans can do. I think it'll make algorithms harder to find the quality. We're already seeing this. Like if you go on YouTube Shorts or TikTok even, and you scroll for a bit, you'll start coming across AI content. And
Yeah.
usually what it is just they've pulled some random Wikipedia fact, and they've generated an AI background, generated an AI voice, and they've just sort of added some AI generated music over it, right? I often see these ones where it's like they'll talk about my YouTube algorithm's weird. Like there's like a lot of history and economic stuff in there, and sometimes it'll just pull in random factoids and and then generate a little YouTube thing about it. But it's like it's still lacking that kind of engagement that a human can provide. And I often find myself just scrolling straight past those ones. But then again, a lot of people probably wouldn't even notice, and they just think, "Oh, that's a real thing."
I've noticed them.
Made by a
Did I
human.
tell you about the ones I saw recently? Which is for the
No.
first time I saw like any sort of that was because sometimes before I go to bed, I'll just kind of get on YouTube Shorts and I'll just scroll for like 15, 20 minutes, right? Just to see if there's anything funny. And one of the big things on YouTube Shorts is like all this Joe Rogan clips and stuff, right?
Oh
From
yeah.
not even Joe Rogan. It's like just people uploading Joe Rogan stuff because like YouTube now is basically just copying other people's work and then either reacting to it or pretending it's your own, right? But I noticed it was like, wait a minute, this is AI. This is a thing of Joe Rogan where you can't see his mouth, so you can't see the words line up, and it's an AI Joe Rogan voice. But it's sort of it's off a little bit. But if you're not really paying attention to it, you would think it's actually him. And it's like, oh, and then you look at the comments and it's like, oh, another AI Joe Rogan. So like, yeah, I started to notice some AI stuff in YouTube Shorts recently, which I think YouTube says you have to announce or you have to declare that you're using artificial stuff in your, to help to make your videos or whatever. But yeah,
But it's like, how can they possibly detect all this stuff? It's such a huge sort of vomit of information, and it's kind of like they can't physically grapple with all the avalanche of AI generated
like
crap that's out there.
I was even talking to Colt yesterday, and we were talking about AI, and I said, you know what? We could probably just have AI make our videos for us and not even do anything, in the way that, like, you could easily just be like, write me a script about this using, Randall Thor 19's, speaking style or whatever, right? And then, like, I could get it to train my voice, because I'm sure there's enough content on here where it would know my voice, because we've done all these podcasts, and you could probably have an AI crap out a Randall Thor 19 video with a voice that sounds somewhat similar to mine, and you could just have a script, and then have it make the, use, I think Premiere Pro, you can sort of use their AI to build a video, or like use these clips from these libraries, have it build a video with a script it wrote and with an AI voice that it created, and you don't even have to do anything.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Crazy.
It's kind of crazy where it could be.
The issue with that is, right, and we're talking about this a lot at work at the moment, and there's a lot of guidance that we're getting from our higher ups about how this kind of stuff works. And what Google is saying is, like, you shouldn't try and produce AI generated content for the algorithm, because your AI generated content will be very similar to anyone else who's used the same large language model. So, like, and then, like, Google's current existing algorithm will detect that as, like, oh, that's really similar, that doesn't add anything new, so we're not going to rank that. At least that's what they're saying and stuff. But I don't know if that plays out in practice, and I don't know how these algorithms are going to cope with finding not just quality content, but accurate content, stuff that isn't just made up. And we see this on Twitter all the time these days since Musk took over. It's like people just tweet things that just ain't true, and then the algorithm just takes it off, and it takes on a life of its own. And then maybe 2 or 3 days after the fact, a community notes will add some context or something. But humans ain't ready for this deluge of crap that's coming.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
And I kind of, with Nate here, it's like, I don't know what Xbox could do, because I don't really know much about it. And, like, if it makes it, I mean, I guess I'm just in the wait and see approach about how it would, like, if Xbox built a system that was AI built or AI chips in it, like, how does that benefit me as a customer? I would be kind of like, okay.
They've got to demonstrate that it actually has some kind of purpose and some value for us as gamers. And I'm seeing there's a lot of blowback right now with Microsoft, because Microsoft announced they're putting a Copilot button on the next wave of laptops, right?
I did I did use Copilot. I did use Copilot for the first time yesterday. I asked it.
How did that go?
I asked it, tell me about Randall Thor 19. You should do it. You ask Copilot right now. Tell me about Randall Thor 19 and read off what it says. I want to see if it was similar to what it said about me.
Oh, okay. Let's do it. Let's do it right now. So where have I got Copilot? Tell me about Randall Thor 19.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if it's like the same thing it said about me that it'll say to you.
So Randall Thor 19 is a popular Xbox-centric YouTuber, the host of Xbox 2 podcast. He has 1 million game score and over 95,000 subscribers on YouTube. He's been interviewed by Lords of Gaming, where he discusses million Xbox game score, YouTube, Xbox leadership, Bethesda, and the state of the gaming industry. Fortunately, I could not find any information about Randall Thor 19 that is related to the Wheel of Time series or any other fictional work. What?
So that was the exact thing it said to me, except for the part at the end about Wheel of Time. That was the exact thing it said to me.
That's so weird.
Well, because Randall Thor is the main character in the Wheel of Time, right?
But like it just sort of threw that in there as like a little bonus kind of thing.
Yeah,
that was weird.
I don't know. But yeah, it was like, that's a literal thing it said to me too. Like, even mentioned the Iron Lords, or whatever in the thing. So, interesting. Very interesting. Okay. Because Sierra11 Kevin also has another question about AI. He says, Jez, you had some comments last week on AI, which leads to the question I'll be asking. The question also seemed more on topic with your tweet recently about Windows forcing AI feels a bit like Kinect. My question is, do you feel Xbox potentially adding a chip for AI in their next console is leading towards another Kinect situation where it fizzles out? My answer is no if they find a way to make the player more immersed in games. Players want other ways to be immersed in games, but I do believe any physical elements, like motion controls, headsets, and Kinect, are not methods that people want. If AI can add things like you discussed last week, maybe other things like character creation based on things you tell the AI, that would be easier to engage players. Thoughts?
I mean, yeah, I kind of like... It's a clunky comparison. I just kind of tweeted off the top of my head, and it kind of reminded me of... It did kind of remind me of how... It reminded me how Microsoft tends to launch the stuff first and then figure it out later. You know, and I think like the figuring out later part is risky because a lot of people are probably just like, you know, I don't really want this, and you haven't explained to me why I should want this, you know. And I suppose like it remains to be seen if they can actually pull off some of this stuff, and it's really on them to figure it out, you know. They yeah, I don't know, man. I'm sort of still trying to work out my thoughts and feelings on some of this stuff, and some of it's really complicated because it does sort of it touches on things that aren't sort of ready, aren't fully baked yet. But we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it all goes.
Okay. Silas says, Happy New Year, Jez, and Randall PC Master Race. I've been thinking a lot about being a hardcore gamer and everything that goes along with it, such as trying new games I've been hearing about for ages or the surprises at a showcase. I wonder how it is to be someone like Phil, who's an avid gamer, yet leads Microsoft Gaming where he knows everything. The pipeline, hardware future, what third-party devs are doing. He has no surprises. Would you want to be in that position where you knew everything? Would it take away from the joy of gaming? I'd love for you guys to ask Phil this at some point. Yeah.
It's a good question. He's probably been doing it for so long now that he's kind of
his
forgot
job,
what it's like.
Right? It's his job.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, it's probably one of those things. And I'm sure. You think he knows everything that everybody's doing? I don't think so. Right? I don't think it's like if you went to Phil and asked him like, "Hey, do you know literally everything Capcom's making?" He probably, outside of like the announced stuff, maybe he knows some of it, but I don't know if he would know like, well, I know Capcom's wanting to bring back Dino Crisis. You know what I mean?
Mm.
So I don't know if he would know 100% of everything that is being made. But yeah, obviously like showcases. I mean, but that's like his job though. It's like,
yeah.
And you know he's been in the business forever, so it's just like it would just be normal. It would be normal for you, or normal for me, or normal for Jez if we were sort of doing that thing. But yeah, I would love to ask Phil, be like, hey, what's it like not really getting any surprises in that sense anymore? You know, maybe it's like we got episode 300 coming up, but I don't think we're gonna have. It's not like we haven't asked anybody to come on, but you know, it's kind of like. Would that be cool to have like Phil or somebody being like to talk about that? Cool. But maybe some point down the road. But yeah, that's an interesting question about, you know, people within the industry, like at Xbox, who like know the things but can't say anything. You know, because there are some people who can't keep secrets. You know, I'm sure you know those people in your daily life where it's like you could tell somebody and you know if you tell them and say don't tell anybody, they won't. But I'm sure everybody knows of somebody that if you tell them a secret, they're going to blab it to somebody else, right? And I do wonder, you know, all the people that work at Microsoft that sign the NDAs that work on all these sort of things, if it's one of those things they had to learn about, like, I can't talk about this to anybody else, or else maybe it's more a thing like, if you talk about this, you lose your job, where it'd be like, okay, I'm not talking about this. But some people just, they can't help it, you know? Look at Special Nick. He can't help it. He blabs everything, you know what I mean? Could Special Nick work at Microsoft knowing everything, or would he just come out and tweet stuff? Where like, wouldn't it be nice? You know what I mean? Like, you know? I'm sure everybody knows somebody in their life that you cannot tell something to.
Yeah, I know someone called Randolph 419.
I've never in my life done that. Have you, though?
No, I've never done that.
Yeah. If I'm told not to tell anybody, I don't tell nobody.
Well, aren't you a good boy?
Hey, that's the price you pay. Monkey vs. Tramp says, hey guys, now imagine the scene. You have a golden ticket like the kid from Action Hero, but instead of going into the movies, you can go in any video game world. Where would you want to go? Jez would say World of Warcraft. I'm going to World of Warcraft.
I don't know, man. World of Warcraft's
scary. You'd probably die right away, right?
Yeah. Where would I go? I don't know, man. That's tough because a lot of the places in these games are not entirely pleasant, man. They're not entirely pleasant.
What about Baldur's Gate world?
Baldur's Gate world?
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
You get like some mature action going on there.
Mature action?
You know, mature content.
Mature content. Yeah, but then I get banned by Xbox. So.
Yeah, then you would get banned by Xbox. What about like something cool where there's really, I'm trying to think of a game that doesn't really have any like chance of, like, what about Crackdown, where you become just like a superhero and you could just jump super high or run super fast? You know, where that'd be kind of cool because you'd be better than everybody else. But then it's like you're stuck in the game Crackdown. No, but you know what? Actually, that would be a fun place to visit, right? If you went into the Crackdown world, like Last Action Hero, where you visit a place and you went to the thing, and then you just were a superhero and you could jump around and you could throw things that were way heavier than you. I think that would be really cool, wouldn't you? If you could just like walk home and go home afterwards.
That'd be cool.
Like, all right, I'm going to visit Crackdown and I'm just going to collect orbs and blow shit up. That sounds like a good time to me, right?
I agree. I'm down for that.
Birdman says, what do you guys...
Stardew Valley. A lot of people in chat saying Stardew Valley.
Stardew Valley. What, you want to work? You want to go plant some crops and stuff, I guess?
Farming Simulator. I'll go there.
The farming sim, yeah. Birdman says, what do you guys think the chances of Microsoft's mobile store succeeding actually are? Part of me doubts success given Microsoft's history with mobile, acquiring Nokia and then Windows Phone failure. But I feel like they've really got to cement themselves into the mobile market after a $70 billion acquisition. My only hope is that if they do really well in mobile, that they don't stop or slow down the console core gaming investment.
I actually think the chances of them succeeding there are pretty low. I think like Satya Nadella himself said repeatedly that they can't succeed in search because they can't control what the default app is on Android and iOS. And Google has the default on Android and iOS. And what are they going to have as the default on Android and iOS for apps? It's going to be Google Play and iOS App Store. So it's like, I don't know why Microsoft thinks like they'll have a chance there. Unless Microsoft does something really, really aggressive and like removes all their games from other platforms. But that goes against what their ethos is on, you know. It'd be so weird if like we see Microsoft be like, okay, we're going to start putting our games on PlayStation, Nintendo Switch, but on mobile, we're going to start pulling them off Apple and Google stores. That'd be such a strange contradiction. So I don't think I don't fancy their chances very much, but I also welcome to be proven very, very wrong, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah,
what do you think, Rand?
I don't know. I think it's also very low too. Are people going to want to go to a Microsoft store on an iOS or an Android or whatever? Maybe they will. Maybe Microsoft will have the content for it. I think
Samsung has already done this. Samsung already has a Samsung Game Store on all Samsung phones. They control most of the market on Android. It's not the default. It is not the default, right? And also, in addition to that, it's even though it has exclusive like Fortnite and stuff, because Google kicked Fortnite off their store, right? So even though it has this stuff, nobody uses it. Even though Samsung offers a better cut on stuff, still nobody uses it. And even though there's lots of perks, you get like free stuff in Pokemon Go and all this kind of stuff for using the Samsung Galaxy Game Store, still nobody uses it. And you want to tell me that Microsoft can compete when it's got to compete not only with Samsung but also Google? I just can't see it. I just personally can't see it, but they've got to try, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, they have to try because, if you don't try, then, they said, hey, we sort of need to. And I mean, they are kind of giving a gift where like the EU is basically saying like, no, you need to allow these things. And so it's not like anything you had to do. It's like, now it's there. But yeah, it's going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult because consumer behavior you'd have to upend. Like, oh, and I'm going to, I don't know. Do they have the content for it? I mean, Candy Crush makes a lot of money, or like COD Mobile or whatever. But would you have to acquire more? How are you going to sway developers to want to... Like, are you going to go to all these developers and be like, put your games on our store in the app store or in the Android store and not put them on? We'll give you better cuts, but it's like, is anybody... I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I mean, I particularly don't care. I'm not going to use mobile, so like, I don't really care. But I think if it goes well for Microsoft, that could be beneficial for someone like me, because I think they could use the money to, potentially acquire more studios to make more games. But even in that sense, like, wouldn't they just require, if it was successful, would they just use that money to make more money on the mobile store, to acquire more like mobile developers or a mobile publisher to get more content? Maybe that's more likely.
Yeah,
we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Chiefman says, with PlayStation outselling Xbox 2-1 this gen, but the Xbox controller being the preferred PC peripheral and having custom designs, which do you think there are more of in this world? DualSense controllers or Series controllers? Huh. Well,
good question. I honestly don't know, because like a lot of people consider Xbox to be the default controller on PC, right?
Right. I mean,
but I don't know.
So we don't know how many consoles Xbox has sold. Let's just say 30 million right now. And we know PlayStation's at 50. So that's 50 million to 30 million. How many does PC make up? And then how many more controllers does Xbox people buy and PlayStation people buy? You know what there's more of? Probably Joy-Cons.
Yeah.
There's probably more Joy-Cons because there's 120 million Switches or whatever, 130 million Switches. But that's an interesting question. I don't know. I don't know if there's more Xbox controllers or PlayStation controllers, honestly. I guess I could see either one. Yeah, I guess it could be either or. Maybe Xbox controllers?
Yeah, true.
Good old Colin says, Happy New Year, Rand and Jez.
That's a question for MPD, really.
Yeah. So it looks like the first-party games that will release this year from Xbox are Our History Untold, Avowed, Microsoft Flight Sim, Senua's Saga, Hellblade 2, and Towerborn. How would you scale the release of these games to increase the chances of these games being nominated for the Keeleys? Oh, so now we're releasing them so they can be nominated for the Keeleys. Okay. Well, I think the only one that really matters out of this group is Hellblade 2. Personally, I would release these games when they're finished. If Hellblade 2's finished in April, then release it in April. But, I mean, I do think there's a lot of recency bias with the Game Awards. So you're probably looking, if you wanted maximum potential, you're probably looking at Hellblade 2 to release sometime in September or October. And Avowed, like, around that time frame as well. I mean, if you're looking for any of them, all those games, if you would obviously, you'd want to have them released later in the year than earlier in the year. But they're not going to be thinking about the Keeleys when they release these games, because they know they're going to need stuff at the beginning of the year. They can't just hold everything for the end. But the only one that really is, like, it's Hellblade, and it's October would be probably the best release date for it, if you were concerned about winning awards. All right, we have Go Cheese. Hey guys, what's with Monster Hunter making a comeback? And Rand, when the new one comes out, will you play it with Jez? Yeah, Jez, what is with the? I saw some today that's making a huge comeback. A lot of people playing like Monster Hunter World. Is it literally because of Monster Hunter Wilds?
So what they did was they kind of like they announced Monster Hunter Wilds, and then right after that they they did a big price cut.
Oh, okay.
So there was like this big price cut, and then they announced Monster Hunter Wilds, a lot of hype. I think a lot of people have you know had a big enough break from the game that they feel like, hey, we could start this again. And also, it runs really well on the Steam Deck.
Mm.
So I think for a lot of people who maybe they didn't have a Steam Deck before, now they do. Maybe they played it on PlayStation or Xbox, and now they do. And it's kind of like, wow, I come back. Oh, and also, Asmongold started playing it.
Oh, Asmongold started playing it. Okay. Yeah, because I mean,
So
like
that's
the
a
Game
big
Awards
part.
was over a month ago, and they did announce it there. So yeah, I guess price drops will do it. Popular streamer playing it will do it. You factor it in, and you got a bunch of people playing Monster Hunter World. Will I play the new one with Jez? Probably not. I'm not a Monster Hunter guy. Sorry. Sick and Tired says, hi, lads. When a lot of the leaks came out from the FTC trial with Microsoft, it became apparent that Matt Booty is an Xbox first, screw PlayStation type of guy. With him taking over responsibility for all of Xbox Game Studios, Bethesda, and now ABK, do you see there being more exclusive Xbox content coming from ABK outside of COD? Also, with the Nate rumor, I could see Sea of Thieves coming to PlayStation and Switch to try and stop Ubisoft Skull and Bones from cutting some of Sea of Thieves' launch. I think Skull and Bones is going to be a disaster, though. So I don't I don't think Sea of Thieves and Rare need to worry about Skull and Bones taking any of their shine, essentially.
I agree. I think I think Microsoft's going to be more platform agnostic than ever, to be honest. I kind of feel like that's the way the wind's blowing for Xbox. Is yeah. Yeah, I don't think I don't see them being more aggressive on exclusives. I see them being less aggressive on exclusives, based on conversations I've had and stuff like that. But it's kind of like about who goes first. Will it be Xbox who goes hard on that first, or PlayStation? Because I think, like, as we've seen from all the stuff that came out recently, to make the money back on this software stuff, it really does have to be everywhere. And we are moving towards this universe where I think, like, every platform, maybe except Nintendo, they'll probably start releasing, and I'm not talking in the near term, I'm talking like 10 years. I can see, like, games like everything will be timed exclusive. Like, everything will be timed exclusive to Xbox, timed exclusive to PlayStation, and then maybe it'll release on other platforms later after the fact. But we'll see how it all goes. Like, everything's really in flux right now. There's, like, honestly, like, so much uncertainty about AI and inflation and all this kind of stuff. We've had a huge correction in the industry this year, where, like, lots of companies were like, yeah, the pandemic's going to last forever, everyone's going to work from home forever, let's boost up our teams to take advantage of this fact, and the fact that people aren't commuting anymore. People have got a little bit more time every day to play games because they don't have to commute. Oh, pandemic's ended. Oh crap, we've got way too many people. Oh crap, let's just fire everyone. So a lot of uncertainty right now, and I guess we'll have to see where it all goes.
I mean, I guess when they announce Odyssey, it'll be interesting to see what the platforms are for there. If they have any like a Crash game or a Spiral game, what's the plan? Well, you'll probably find out right then and there what their plan is for ABK stuff. What they do with some of the first things that from ABK that are coming. And when we find out the platforms, you'll be able to be like, oh, well, if these, okay, well, then we know what's going to happen with that. So, yeah, as for the Sea of Thieves thing, I mean, I could see Sea of Thieves coming over, but I don't think it would be like to cut off Skull and Bones, because I think this game's going to be a disaster regardless. Not Skywalker says, hey y'all, kind of breaking topic. I saw the official Spyro Twitter account tweeted out today, quote, 2024 motto, accompanied by a photo of Spyro the Dragon with the caption, "You gotta believe." Dare I believe, is Spyro 4 really real? Best wishes to y'all in the new year. I mean, there were rumors that there is a new Spyro game coming. I don't know how true they are. Beanox did kind of do a company redesign, like logos and everything. So, I don't even know. Were the rumors about Beanox being the one making it? I mean, they did bring Crash back. I mean, they did the remasters or remakes, really. Very much like they did the Crash remakes, and then they did a Crash 4. So, you could say it sort of falls in line. It's like, here's the Spyro games, and here's Spyro 4. I think it's taken a little bit more time. Obviously, I think, COVID may have had something to do with it, but I could see Spyro. I could see a new Spyro.
The Spyro game?
What?
You a fan of the Spyro games?
I mean, I liked them when I played them back in the day, sure. I think I always liked the Crash games more. But, I mean, Spyro was cool. Governor Grimm says, Nate the Hate mentioned that another acclaimed Xbox game is going to appear in the competitor's platform. Which game do you think it is, and how do you think it affects the platform when games like Ori, As Dust Falls, and whatever this game is makes their way to other platforms? Seems to me like it lends credence to the Xbox going third-party talk. I mean, we talked extensively about this, so you can just kind of rewind the thing. But I think when people say Xbox going third-party, they mean like literally every game. Like Xbox going third-party is like all new games, everything is going to other platforms. And if it's just a selection of games that are targeted for specific reasons, then I'm not sure that really merits like Xbox is going third-party. But if it is the beginning of like, well, like all the new games are, then that'd be a different story. Christian says, do you guys think we may get Activision Blizzard games announced for Game Pass at the Developer Direct? If not, when do you guys think they will? We also mentioned this as well. I think they hold off and have an announcement like at some other time, just so they can have like more news hits and more coverage. Developer Direct is about the developers and the games. I think the way I position it was Developer Direct is about the games coming that year, and then I think you save the Activision Blizzard Game Pass stuff announcements for a different time. But we'll find out maybe in 2 weeks. Not that long away. Not that long to wait to find out about it. So, and that's all. That's all the questions we got, Jez. That's all the Patreon questions.
Rock and roll, baby.
So, yeah. I don't know if we got anything more you wanted. Do you have anything more you wanted to talk about?
Nah, man. Just keep it gaming, and I think this will be a fun month for Xbox news. Based on the rumors out there. So
yeah, a lot of rumors out there. Lot of rumors about things, and I think the Developer Direct should be pretty good. I'm looking to see what Hellblade, what it gets, and another look at Avowed and stuff, and Towerborn. You can't really judge it that much from what you see in that trailer, but I think it's going to be a good year. And with that said, we're going to be ending the show. Hit the like button, subscribe if you guys haven't. Make sure to check out the Patreon. You can check out the Xbox 2 Ultimate we just did. That was like 2 hours long with a lot of community members. We got MVG coming on for Xbox 2+1 on the 16th of January. So that should be a lot of fun. And maybe if the Developer Direct is coming soon, maybe we'll have to have somebody like a guest on to talk about that afterwards, or something. Okay. I'm sure we'll do some things about that. So yeah, thank you guys. This has been episode 298. Only two more for episode 300. Which honestly, Jez, that kind of falls in with the week. It could be Developer Direct. Episode 300 ties in with the Developer Direct.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy, right?
It's kind of nuts. So until then, we'll be back on Friday next week. Love you guys. Keep it gaming. And enjoy your weekend.
Have a great night.
Later.
Take care.